Hello!
Hi,
Welcome to Anime Mystics. I'm Roman,
I'm Belle.
and tonight we are doing our Water 7 slash Enies Lobby review slash discussion, which usually just turns into a big recap of the whole thing, and then we talk about the major points.
Yep. Just know, it'll probably be really long.
Yeah. We'll try to make it not as long, but don't expect it to be. Probably expect a 3 to 4 hour review.
Yeah, don't hold us to it.
Discussion.
We got some notes.
We got notes, yes, to kind of help us along.
So it's not 6 hours.
Yeah. And hopefully it helps make it even less.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Okay. So, the crew, Luffy and the gang, they all head to an island called Water 7. Basically, they need to get, one, the gold that they got from Skypiea appraised, and two, to get the Mary repaired, because she has taken a lot of damage over the adventures that they've had. Going to the sky, crashing down from the sky, getting
Shot at all kinds of
different things. The mast was ripped
falling
off.
Got rebuilt.
Yeah. They also want to find a shipwright, someone who can actually repair the ship if something happens to it. They desperately need one.
Yeah, Usopp tries, but they need like an actual
Yeah, he just kind of does like touch-ups.
tape-ups.
Yeah. Just something to keep her together until they
make it
to wherever they're going. But that's not going to work further on into the Grand Line, so they need somebody to actually repair the ship. So that's their goal. Go to Water 7, appraise their gold, find a shipwright, and get the Mary fixed. They end up arriving, and pretty much everybody leaves the ship. Sanji, he's going to go get supplies, food and stuff, because he's the cook. Robin and Chopper leave to go wander around the city, both looking for books. Robin wants to find some, archaeological type books, history books, while Chopper wants to find books on medicine.
Yeah.
Nami, Usopp, and Luffy all leave to go and get the gold appraised, while Zoro stays on the ship. He sleeps, but basically there to guard the ship, make sure nothing happens. Which it's a good thing he was there, because remember the Franky family did show up on the ship and tried to fight him, which...
It's funny.
Yeah. They later found out that was a bad move.
Wrong move.
Yeah. Don't bother Zoro.
Yeah. Especially if he's sleeping. Made quick work of them, and then they scurried off. Then he went back to sleep.
Then he went back to sleep. They make it to, a bank? To get the gold appraised. And the guy tried to shortchange him a little.
Can't shortchange Nami.
No, Nami's pretty much already got it in her head how much the gold is worth. And hearing what the guy said, I think it was half what it was worth. She got angry. Made a few threats.
That's what Nami does.
Then the guy said, "Oh, okay,
you know what you're doing.
This is how much it's actually worth." And then she was happy. It's like, all right, cool. Luffy and Usopp, on the other hand, were like, really? That much?
They were willing to take whatever.
They were willing to take whatever the guy said. But thankfully, they had Nami with them.
Nami wouldn't trust them with anything that has to do with money.
No.
For that exact.
I wouldn't trust them with anything not having to do with money either.
You know.
Well, Usopp maybe, but not Luffy.
He'll see meat and it's game over.
Yeah. He'd use all the money to buy some meat. But then again, he was all for getting the Mary fixed because he knows how badly she's damaged.
Yeah.
So, not to the extent that it turned out to be.
Yeah.
But he knew she needed the repairs. I believe the Franky family overhear Luffy and Usopp talking about how much money they got.
Yeah.
Which is what made them their target. And they head over to the Galley-La Company over at Dock 1, because that's the dock that has all the best shipwrights, to find out how much it would cost to get the Mary repaired. Before they even get inside the place, the Franky family tries to steal their money. In fact, they get 2 suitcases.
Yeah.
They get 2 suitcases and are making their getaway. But the one of the foremen of the Galley-La Company, Polly, ends up jumping on their ship to get away from some debt collectors. And ends up getting the suitcases, seeing that there's money in there, and was going to use it to pay these guys off.
Yeah.
But, was it Lucci? It was Lucci. He doesn't talk much. Has a bird on his shoulder that does all the talking.
Yep.
And he got the suitcases back from Polly and had him
give
them back to Luffy and Nami and them. Because, I mean, it's not his money. But he was going to use it like it was his money.
He's going to use it to pay off his debt.
Who knows how big of a debt he has. I don't think they ever said. It just said it's large.
Yeah.
The guy needs
to stop.
Needs to stop. Just like I need to stop playing Tori. But no. Yeah. But they get the money back. They go inside the dock, and they explain what they want to do. They want to get the ship repaired. They need to find out how much it's going to cost. So Galley-La sends Kaku, this dude with a big square nose, cubed nose, I should say.
He goes flying.
Goes jumping from roof to roof till he gets to the ship. After he lands, he wakes Zoro, who was getting ready to attack, but he asks first, okay, who are you?
What are you doing?
What are you doing here? And he tells him, I'm here to appraise the ship and find out, what the damage is and how much it's going to cost. Meanwhile, Luffy, Nami, and Usopp are checking out the dock. They did talk to Iceberg.
Yeah.
We met Iceberg, and they talked with him. And then that's when they get, permission to go into Dock 1 and look around while Kaku is doing his appraisal. This is around the time Usopp gets kidnapped by the Franky family.
And the money also gets stolen as well.
Yeah. Did they each have 2 suitcases?
No, they each had 1.
They each had 1 suitcase? That makes more sense, yeah. Either way, they kidnap Usopp because he's off looking at weapons, I believe, for the ship. And while he's doing that, they snag him up, drag him out, take the money, but leave the suitcase. Luffy and Nami have no idea this has happened. They're still talking with, I think, Polly and Lucci and
all of them.
It's around the time Kaku arrives, back from checking out the ship. And Luffy is getting excited, He's like,
I want this, I want that.
Yeah, he's looking at everything they have. That end, Kaku's back, so now they can find out how much it's going to cost to fix the Mary. So he asks him, okay, so how much is it going to be? And he tells him that they can't fix Mary. That I cannot remember the name of the piece, but that
like
big
the bottom part
board that is like underneath the ship.
Like the support.
Yeah, the support to basically the spine of the ship. That's what I think is how they said it was.
Yeah.
Like the spine that holds everything in place is cracked and damaged beyond repair. Basically, they would have to build an entirely new ship if they were to do this. Which Luffy was like, go ahead and do that then.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it wouldn't be the same ship.
It'd be a different ship.
It'd be a completely different ship. It would look like your ship, but it wouldn't be your ship, basically. And they tell him, look, we got all kinds of other ships. We have used ships. We can make you a new ship, with the amount of money you say you have. it shouldn't be much of an issue to get you a new ship. That's when one of the Galley-La people, just some random guy working for Galley-La, comes up with a suitcase.
Honest.
And is like, found this over, what was it, by the cannons?
Yeah.
Over by the cannons. And Luffy and them were like, that's ours. And they're like, where's Usopp? Because the guy was talking to Kaku like, what? I thought you went with the Franky family. And he's like, I didn't go with the Franky family. And he's like, well, I saw someone with a big nose going with them. And they're like, Usopp.
There's
nobody else other than Kaku who has a big nose.
I swear.
Yeah. So they get the suitcase back. And after like a minute or so, Nami realizes that the suitcase is kind of light.
It's off. It's not heavy like the other ones.
Yeah, it's not too heavy. So they open it up, and all the money is gone. And they're freaking out because now they have less money to get a ship. And even still, though, I think Iceberg was like, well, even with the money you have, you could still get like a good used ship, right?
Yeah, but they didn't want that. They didn't want that.
No. But now they got something else to worry about. They got to find Usopp because he's missing. So Luffy and Nami split up to go look for him. I think it's around this time they go back to Robin and Chopper, right?
Yeah, they all try to like let him know.
No, like Robin and Chopper as they're walking down the...
They run into, who is it, Nami? Or is it Luffy that they...
I'm talking about when the CP9 guy walks up to Robin and says...
Oh, calls her...
CP9. Whispers whatever he does to her.
Whisper.
Because they don't even know what's going on right now. Robin and Chopper don't even know what's going on. Because they're just looking for books.
They're doing what they do best.
Yeah. But this guy with a mask comes up.
Yellow.
Yeah, and a little cloak cape thing. Just walking past Robin, says CP9, and then walks off. Gets a reaction out of Robin.
She disappears.
Who just wanders off after that. Chopper is looking at some books, and then when he comes back, she's gone. She's just not there anymore.
She's a ninja.
Mm-hmm. She's a ninja. Might as well be with the hands she has. Luffy, yeah, I already said Luffy and Nami split up.
Yeah.
Nami is the one that ends up finding Usopp. She's on, I forget what those sea creatures are called that they ride on in this city.
Okay.
But she's on one of those, and she sees a crowd over on the side, kind of gathered around a specific spot of the street. So she goes over to see what it is, and it's Usopp.
On the ground.
Bloody and mangled. And she goes over to him, seeing if he's okay, which obviously he's not, but she's got to...
Gussie.
She doesn't really... She cares about the money, but at this point she doesn't really care because Usopp kind of takes priority because of how
bad
mangled he is.
He was bad. He was real bad.
He was still conscious, and the only thing he was worried about was that he lost the money.
It was letting down the crew.
Yeah, because now they couldn't repair Mary. He doesn't even know that they can't even repair Mary. So he still thinks that they can
fix her,
and that he's lost some of the money that's going to help. So Nami tells him, just wait here. I'm going to go get everybody else, and we'll find the people that did this to you and make them pay, pretty much.
Yeah.
Not,
Not in those exact words,
yeah.
But that's what she was coming.
Basically what she was saying. I forget who... Does she find Sanji first? Because I don't think she finds Luffy.
No, it's not Luffy.
I think she finds Sanji. I think it's Sanji first. And then I believe they go to the ship where she explains what's going on, and
Yeah.
Zoro goes with Sanji, and she stays with the ship.
Yeah.
And then when they go back to the location Usopp was at, he's gone.
But there's a blood trail.
There's a blood trail. And Luffy falls from the sky into the water.
Yeah.
Where Sanji had to jump in and save him. I was going to say Chopper. I can't remember if did Chopper jump in there to try to save him and then start drowning too? Because I know he's done that before.
I don't remember if he did that specifically there,
I don't think he did that this time.
But he has done that before.
He has done that before. But no, I think it was just Sanji who went in and got him.
Yeah.
And they explain what's going on. And then they all head to... they start following the blood trail, which leads to the Franky house. But before they arrive, Usopp is there, trying to get the money back. I know he's very determined to get the money because he actually went down to start a fight with these people.
And he's a coward.
Yeah. Did not really go over well for him. He gets there, demands the money back. Franky pretty much kind of kicks him a few times.
Kicked at him and laughs at him.
And then leaves him for the rest of his guys to do with whatever they want to.
Which is pretty much they all ganged up on him and
Beat him up again.
Jeebus out of him.
And then dumped him outside of the Franky house. Which is where Luffy and them find him. They have Chopper checking his pulse and making sure he's alive, which he is. He's just unconscious. And then they go inside the Franky house and pretty much demolish everybody.
Open can of whoop.
And destroy the Franky house. After that, Luffy...
Franky goes on the sea train. He leaves with
During
the money.
this whole thing, Franky gets on the sea train and leaves with the money. So they can't even get it back from him. Because he's not even on the island anymore.
He's already gone.
Then at this time, after they've finished with the Franky family and destroyed his house, Luffy decided what he was going to do about the Mary. Which he says afterwards, when they're on the ship and Usopp is there, that they're getting a new ship. It's time to say goodbye to the Mary. Very hard decision for them.
Yeah.
That ship has been with them since Usopp's Island, which I don't remember the name of.
But like the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah, episode, in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 20s. When Usopp wakes up, he starts asking, what happened, what's going to happen with the Mary, and Luffy tells him, you don't really have to worry about it.
We're getting a new ship.
We're getting a new ship. And then he pulls out a brochure with all the different ships that they can get with the money they have. And Usopp's like, wait.
Hold up.
Wait. Stop joking. What are we actually doing? And Luffy's like, I'm serious.
We're gonna get a new ship.
We're getting a new ship. Definitely have to say, Luffy could have done this a lot better.
Yeah, no, the way he went about it was just not the best.
No.
Could've
Especially
explained
with
it
as
better.
attached as Usopp is to the ship.
They all knew that it was going to be the hardest
For him.
for him. And he went too nonchalant
Yeah.
about it.
He did what he normally does. Just kind of
Brushes it off.
brushes it. Well, yeah.
Brush it off and try to keep it going.
Yeah. But that just made Usopp angry. He felt like they were just abandoning the ship.
Yeah.
And he kept asking Luffy, why? Why are you just giving up the ship? And that's when Luffy tells him that it can't be repaired. That it wouldn't even last till to the next island if they kept it. Like, they could do some touch-ups on the ship, but it wouldn't fix her. and she would just
break down anyway.
Break down. Usopp didn't want to believe it. Kept saying that they were just abandoning their Nakama. And that's what Luffy does, just tosses aside Nakama that he doesn't need anymore. I mean, you should know Luffy better than that.
He does not just throw people. Once you're a part of the crew, that's it. Like, you're family.
Yeah. You're a part of the Luffy family. And they're having this huge argument, and Luffy pretty much, well, almost tells him, you know, if you don't like it, you can just leave.
Yeah.
But before he can finish, Sanji kicks him in the face. Tells him to calm down. You know, what were you just about to say?
Think about it.
And Luffy's like, you're right. I got a little too emotional.
It got out of hand.
I that wasn't what I meant to say, you know.
But it was already done.
It was already too late. And I'm pretty sure at this point, Usopp already had this in his mind about leaving.
Yeah.
But
it like kind of solidified it.
Yeah, he told them that he was going to leave the crew. He can't compare to their monstrous strength or anything like that, so what's the use in having him around? He just gets in the way. Which, I mean, come on. You've done your part.
When it's necessary,
you do your
step
part.
Up.
But before he leaves, like, he gets off the ship, but as he's off the ship, he calls out to Luffy and challenges Luffy to a duel for the Mary. Winner gets to keep the ship. Which I don't understand why, because they were already planning on getting a new ship. So it was really kind of pointless to say, I challenge you for the ship. But, you know, I guess until
it's officially gone.
It's officially gone. Luffy still technically owns the ship. So, yeah. I forget what was it? Midnight? Is that what time he wanted the battle? He challenged him later on in the night. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. He said he would come back and to be prepared to have a serious battle.
And not to hold back.
Yeah, not to hold back. Nami is trying to talk him out of it. Luffy, trying to talk Luffy out of it. But Sanji and Zoro pretty much understand what has to be done. That he can't...
the code.
Yeah. He can't just...
challenge the captain.
And then have Luffy not do anything. So he has to accept the duel. Later on, Usopp does come back. Looking very serious. More serious than I think we've ever seen Usopp.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Luffy gets off the ship and goes over to him, and Sanji. Not Sanji. Usopp. That's the one. I was going to get to him eventually.
You were going to go through the whole crew.
I was.
Next it would have been Chopper.
Yeah. No, not Chopper. Usopp tells him, I'm not like all the other people that you fought. I actually know you, and I know your abilities.
I know your weaknesses.
So if you don't come at me like you're ready to kill me, then...
I will kill you.
Yeah. So they start their duel, and pretty much throughout the entire thing, Usopp's got the upper hand.
He's actually doing real good.
Yep. But, I mean, he had prep time. He knew what he was going to do for this entire battle. It's not like before where he was just kind of using his weapons. He knew what to do to set up certain, like, combo techniques with his, weapons. What did he do? First, he eliminated Luffy's sense of smell by having all the pepper.
Yeah.
And the rotten eggs. Then he had a gas dial going so that he can cause a huge explosion. He was using shuriken, caltrops. He was using the flame stars. He was using all of it.
He had all his tricks out.
Yep. Even stuff I don't think we've seen before until this fight. It wasn't until like after the huge explosion that Luffy got a hit in, punched him in the face.
In the face!
Making Usopp fly back a little bit, land on the ground, and when he went for another hit, Usopp pretty much let him because he had an impact dial, which Luffy hit, giving Usopp basically
all the strength that he just was about to use.
Yeah. And he uses it on Luffy, sending Luffy up into the air. Does not defeat Luffy, though. He basically does like a backflip and lands on his feet. Almost kind of falling over, but he was standing. Surprising Usopp. I thought Usopp thought that was going to finish him off.
That would be it.
And then Luffy hits him one more time in the gut. And that ended the duel.
He ends up giving him Mary anyway.
Well, Luffy kind of just goes onto his knees and basically tells him, "You knew you couldn't beat me."
Why?
And then tells him, "Look, you can have the ship. We're getting a new one. So we'll take all of our stuff and you can just have the Mary." This was very tough for Luffy. He never wanted to fight any of his crew.
Never any of his engines.
Especially Usopp. They've been pretty close since he joined.
Yeah, pretty much since the beginning.
They've always been hanging out. Fishing, doing jokes. They were like best friends, pretty much. When Chopper is trying to get to Usopp to help bandage him up, and Sanji is holding him back, telling him, "Look, how do you think he's going to feel if you go over there and show him pity after what he just did? Like, not only did he lose the duel, but now you're going to go and pity him by helping him out. That's not going to help him." Luffy ends up getting back to the ship and is pretty much crying. Trying to hold it in, but he can't.
He's losing a friend.
Yeah. And I forget exactly what Zoro said, but basically it came down to you can't really show much weakness about this kind of thing, because if you do, then who are we supposed to follow? Basically, he has to be strong.
For all of them.
Tough, though, in this situation. But they get all their things and they leave the ship. Chopper eventually gets away from Sanji and just leaves Usopp medicine and bandages.
All the stuff he needs.
Yeah, but doesn't actually do anything. Sometime during this battle, Robin and one of the masked people end up breaking into Iceberg's house and shooting him. You don't find out why until a little bit later. But because of this, everybody's got it in their mind that the Straw Hats are trying to kill Iceberg, who's the mayor of Water 7 and a very beloved
and
person.
Well respected.
Yeah.
Everyone in that town.
Yeah. So Galley-La is out looking for Luffy and them so that they can find out why
they shot him.
They shot Iceberg, why they're trying to kill Iceberg. Also, Franky comes back. He finds his house destroyed.
People all beat up and mangled.
And now he's looking for Luffy to get revenge. At this time, Luffy and them don't know that Iceberg has been shot. At least I don't think. No. Did they know? Because they went there after reading a newspaper, didn't they? I think they went down there to see if he was okay.
Yeah, I think they just heard
that he was shot.
But
they didn't know anything about Robin being there.
Yeah, there was no announcement yet that it was the Straw Hats.
I think they just went down there to see if he was okay. But then Franky finds them.
They start fighting.
And yeah, he starts fighting with Luffy. And it's... could go either way, actually. Franky is very strong.
Like, it's kind of scary how strong Franky is.
He doesn't really take much damage because the whole front part of his body is a cyborg.
So that's a bit difficult.
So they're thinking, what kind of devil fruit does he have? And then he dives into the water, and they're like, oh, well, okay, he's an idiot. But then he comes out of the water and attacks them again, and he's like, I have no devil fruit, all right? I'm a cyborg. Lose my ability to swim. And then, yeah, that's when he breaks it to them that he's a cyborg.
He runs off of cola.
Yeah, he runs off of cola. That's his fuel. It's a good choice.
It is. It's the best choice.
Probably also why Oda said that if the characters had nationalities, Franky would be American.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be the cola and because he's really loud. I kind of think the Japanese think we're really loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think everybody thinks we're kind of loud, which I can see. We are kind of loud people. Not me though.
Not specifically.
Well, I am during this video, so. But anyway, they're having their fight, and it's like
evenly matched.
Pretty evenly matched. It's kind of spilling into the Galley-La Dock 1.
Yeah.
This is where Lucci, Polly, and them get Luffy. And they're trying to fight with him, and he's not trying to fight them. He's trying to like kind of dodge and avoid them because he wants to know why they're attacking him.
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, we were just cool yesterday. What happened?
Like, what's with this change in attitude? Why are you attacking me?" And that's when they break it to him that the Straw Hats, tried to kill Iceberg. And they want to know why. And Luffy is like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
What? Yeah. We didn't try to kill Iceberg. We heard he was shot. I came down here to see if he was okay. And it's when I think they told him that Robin was there, right? Because Polly mentioned... No, not Polly. Iceberg mentioned...
He saw her.
Robin. And that's the only thing they have as far as evidence that the Straw Hats tried to kill him. I mean, for all the Straw Hats knew, which I know they didn't, Robin could have had this whole plan to get to Water 7 to kill this guy for some reason, and was just using them. But we know that's not the case. And Luffy never had that thought in his mind to begin with.
No.
Because he knows his people.
He picks good people.
Yeah.
He picks really good.
Luffy knows how to pick them. He has not picked one person who has been bad. Like, hasn't turned on them, hasn't thought about turning on them, hasn't killed normal people, like citizens.
They're all pretty loyal.
Yeah. So they end up having to run away, thanks to Franky using his coup de vent. Basically, he uses like a pipe right here, and like use whatever cola I think he has left, or like a bottle of cola, to make this huge like wind attack. Remember?
I remember.
Blowing everybody away and destroying this huge like crane thing that they had in the background.
Falls down.
Giving Luffy the opportunity, and Nami, the opportunity to run away. Nami was actually getting attacked by the citizens after they heard the news about the Straw Hats. They were attacking her.
Because she was in the crowd.
Yeah. And she's just as confused as Luffy, like, what?
We didn't do that.
Like, Robin's been missing since yesterday. We've been looking for her. Like, we have no idea where she is right now. So they had to run away. Franky's upset because he didn't get to finish his fight with Luffy. And the Galley-La people are upset because Luffy got away.
Yeah.
But now they're set to just protect Iceberg because they feel like, well, they're going to try again. They attempted it once. They didn't complete their mission, so they're going to come back and try again.
Wow, we went through that one whole page already.
I know. We're actually making a pretty good time. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the bullets. But, yeah, it's only been 35 minutes. We might actually get through this in a decent amount of time.
What?
Let's see. So Luffy and Nami run away. Chopper and Sanji were actually out looking for Robin because they just thought she was missing. They don't know anything about her shooting Iceberg or being in the room when Iceberg got shot. They just think she's missing right now. So they went to go look for her. Chopper is feeling guilty. Kind of feels like
with her.
Well, he kind of feels like maybe she left because of him. You know?
Yeah.
Like he was being kind of annoying and she didn't want to be with him anymore, so she just kind of left the crew. Can't stand that reindeer.
Chopper. Gosh.
And Sanji is basically, making him feel better. Like, no, that's not the reason why. We got to find her and find out why.
Why she left.
She's just gone. And they end up finding her. They saw her with someone else. The guy that whispered to her CP9. But when they follow her, they're both gone. Like, they went around a corner that was a dead end and they vanished.
Ninjas.
Yes. But they end up finding her again. And she is basically telling them that she's not coming back.
She's leaving the crew.
She's leaving the crew. And to not follow her anymore, to not try to get her, nothing. Just their time together is done. Cutting all ties. Burning bridges and stuff.
Little does she know.
Yeah. Yeah, little does she know that Luffy doesn't let anybody go unless he says so.
Unless it's his time to let you go. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Usopp was kind of an exception because Usopp challenged him to a duel and was basically calling him a bunch of names.
He put him in a situation where he had no
choice but to fight him and kick him out. So Sanji, he leaves Chopper, tells Chopper to go back to the guys and tell them what happened. And he's going to continue going after her. Sanji apparently is able to tell when women are lying. One of his superpowers.
Well, he's selling to women. He should.
Yeah.
He should know.
So he made some kind of comment about like real men know when women are lying or something like that.
Yeah.
Something kind of like that. I can't remember
something
exactly.
Along the lines about like he could tell she wasn't being honest.
Yeah, that's basically what it came down to. So he's going to continue looking for her, but
to get the truth.
Yeah, but Chopper should go back and tell everybody what happened, which he does. He leaves to go and find the rest of the crew. At this point, the whole town is looking for them because they all believe that the Straw Hats tried to kill their mayor, and they don't like that, especially since everybody in this town loves that guy.
It's like funny how everyone does.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it's also around this time we start hearing about the Aqua Laguna.
Yeah. Because there's people in the town that are boarding up windows, taking their belongings, taking shelter, getting on the sea trains to leave. And
I think it was Sanji who asked what's going on. And they're like, oh, well, Aqua Laguna is coming. And he's like, what's that? And they tell him that it's this huge storm that hits, once a year?
Yeah.
And basically submerges all the lower levels of the city underwater.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I think every year it gets worse.
Yeah.
Or I think they said that this was the worst one.
It was getting worse each year, but yeah, this one was the worst.
This one was the worst. We don't see Sanji for a while after this. Yeah. Sanji is just MIA. Chopper does find the rest of the crew and tell them, what Robin told them, that she's not coming back and to stop looking for her. Luffy's like, no.
We got a Luffy response to that. Like, what did we all expect was going to happen? Like, he was just like, okay.
Yeah, well, I guess we lost 2 crew members.
Okay, that's fine. Psych. Negative.
He's basically like, no, we're going to get her back. We're going to find Robin, and I'm going to talk to her myself.
I want to find out why
she's saying all this. All comes back down to going to Iceberg's house again. Galley-La is there because they pretty much expect the Straw Hats to come back and try to kill him again. And they're heading there because they expect Robin to show up again with whoever it is that's
framing him, getting
her to do all this. Well, both of them were technically right. The Straw Hats did break into the house.
But not for the reason that they thought.
Yeah. And the Straw Hats were right because Robin and CP9 did come back to the house to try to get to Iceberg again. Dun, dun, dun. Although, not for the reasons that they thought. Luffy ends up doing a Luffy move, which basically means he left without the rest of them.
Yeah.
They had this whole plan to break into the place while there was this huge battle going on with the rest of CP9 so that they could get in secretly.
Yeah, they were going to try to go through the front, right?
Yeah, they figured that with everybody running around, there'd be nobody guarding the front. But Luffy, he said he understood, mind you.
Yeah.
They asked him, do you understand? And he said, yes. And then he ran off without them.
And then he stretched and he was out.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, Nami is like, where did he go?
Like, so much for that.
And Zoro is just like, well, we should have saw this coming.
We should all plan. They should always plan for that. They should have the plan A, which is their ideal plan, and then plan B once Luffy goes off and does
whatever Luffy is going to do. But yeah, he ends up getting into the house, and let me see. Before this, though, Iceberg called Polly into his room.
Yeah.
And told him what they were after. Telling him to go into his office and to go into the safe and to grab these blueprints. So he does. He goes into that room, grabs the blueprints, and when he does, 2 of the CP9 members are in there. And they're like, oh, are those the blueprints we're after?
Great. You found them for us.
Yeah. Little did they know that they were fake blueprints.
Phony! Great big phony.
Yes. Fake blueprints. I think it's around this time Luffy ended up in that room. He busted through the window, didn't he?
Well, they get captured, him and Polly first. They get nailed to the...
Well, I mean, Polly was in there first, and then Luffy comes in through the window, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they try to fight them, but...
Lose.
Yeah, they lost, and they ended up getting pinned down to the ground. Need a drink.
By, these, hook type things, blocking their neck, arms, and legs.
Yeah. Basically anything they would need to get away.
They didn't know Luffy can stretch.
Surprisingly. You would think CP9 would know this information.
You'd think they would have already seen what he was capable of
doing.
And be like, oh, this one's not going to work on him.
Should probably do something else. But no, they did the same thing. Just pinned him down to the ground using these little hook things. And Luffy just ends up getting out. He just pulls his arm out because it's rubber. And then he gets Polly free.
And they go to Iceberg's room.
First all of CP9 are in there. Yeah. And they reveal who they are. Turns out it's Kaku, Lucci, Khalifa, Iceberg's secretary.
The shade of it all.
And Bruno. who was actually just a bartender, like a bar owner in the city.
No one expected that.
I mean, they showed the guy once.
No one expected that. I was like, what? The rest of these people, okay.
Yeah.
I can totally get it. But this guy...
We saw it was like a one-off character, and now he's...
It was like a 5... It was like a 5
villain.
second, 10 second, like, boop.
Yep.
And then he was gone,
And then we find out what they want. Just like Crocodile.
They're all after the same thing.
Yeah, they wanted the blueprints to the
Pluton.
super weapon Pluton. Said to be able to basically destroy a country without much issue. They figure if they had this weapon, the government would be so powerful that they would be able to put an end to this pirate age. Probably. But you don't want to give anybody that kind of power.
That's dangerous to give someone that kind of power.
Yeah. And since they know that the blueprints that Polly had were fake, they pretty much had a good idea as to who had them. They go through the entire thing about them joining the Galley-La, doing this and that and blah, blah, blah.
Someone coming to visit.
Yeah, and then one day, someone comes to visit him using the name Cutty Flam. And it turns out that guy is Franky. Cutty Flam is his original name. Franky is his alias right now. He met with Iceberg. He wanted to, kind of let him know I'm alive.
Yeah,
Let's
he thought he was dead.
kind of catch up. Yeah. And Iceberg turned him away. But then later goes to meet Franky at his
workshop.
The workshop at the old
Tom's Workers.
Yeah, Tom's Workers workshop.
I can't remember no one's name, but I can remember the workshop.
Yeah. And technically, you remember the main guy's name too.
Yeah.
Because it's the name of the workshop. Tom.
Yes. Way to go.
Goes to the Tom's Workshop building. Talks with Cutty Flam. And gives him the blueprints to the Pluton. Telling him that they've been coming to him more and more, trying to get them. So he wants Franky to have them so that nobody would suspect that he would have them.
Yeah.
As far as they know, Cutty Flam is dead. Other than the fact that he came to the building and used his name.
He was dead.
He was dead. He actually told Franky to leave the city.
Because they were going to come after him.
Yeah, because they would come after him. But he told him, I'm not leaving. Why am I going to listen to you?
This is my home.
They never really...
God.
They always argued. It was...
Like a brother...
Yeah, like a brotherly type of thing. They always argued. So obviously he didn't listen to him. Stayed in the town. Called himself Franky instead of Cutty Flam. And started a demolition job. Also being just an all-around bad dude. Because he had his Franky family and they would go around and do bad things. Steal, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they basically figured out who had him. Based off of the fact that he gave his real name. And then just put two and two together. It's Franky.
Yep. They just needed to get clarification from Iceberg.
Yeah.
Because...
Right now, it was just a theory. And in order to find this out, they had Kaku basically hold his wrist, like where you feel your pulse, and was feeling it to see if there was any change in his...
pulse. Like if it started racing.
Yeah, if his heart started beating faster. Which would mean that they were getting closer to the truth. And unfortunately, Iceberg is not very good at keeping that
under control.
Because
it was just instantly doom, 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 doom.
As soon as they mentioned Cutty Flam.
He was like, oh my god. Over.
And then Kaku's like, yep, we got it right.
That's it.
And then it was just, okay, well, tell us where Franky is. Like he's going to tell them where Franky is. But then at this point, Luffy, Polly,
break through one
wall, and Zoro, Nami, and Chopper break through another wall.
Yep.
And they just look at each other and go, "Hey, Zoro!
Hey!
This is Luffy.
You guys made it here?"
And Polly is just like, "What's going on here?"
Because it just gets revealed.
Yeah.
That people he considered family.
Yeah.
Tried to murder Iceberg.
Just backstabbers. Just a couple of dirty backstabbers. So, Polly obviously is very upset about this. Emotionally, very angry and sad because, again, like Belle said, he considered them basically family. They've been working together for years.
What was it, like 5 years?
Something like that.
5 or 7 years.
5 to 7 years. They've been working together. Just to find out that they're the ones who tried to kill Iceberg and are working for the government. Like a secret government agency. CP9 is like the people that are in the shadows. Basically the government's assassination group.
Yep.
And they do their job very well.
They're super effective.
I am pretty positive that anybody that watched this had no idea that these people were CP9.
Not me.
I know I didn't when I first saw it. I mean, how could you believe that these guys were...
Bruno! We barely saw him!
Again, we saw him in one scene where they were at the bar. Other than that, you didn't see him at all. Kaku, Lucci, Khalifa, I never would have suspected them. I mean, Lucci never talked. He had a bird talking for him.
Oh my god, when Lucci actually talks, you're like...
What? He can speak?
Your words work.
And then the bird stopped talking after that.
Yeah, it was like quiet.
I'm kind of wondering, was it ventriloquism? Because the bird was actually moving its beak when it spoke.
I don't know.
Or does the bird actually talk? I'm going to have to try to find that out. Or if you all know, tell us. Does that bird actually talk, or was that just Lucci doing ventriloquism? Anyway, they're in the room. Polly is angry. Luffy sees Robin. And now he's trying to find out
why she's leaving.
Why she's leaving, why she's doing this. Doesn't really give him any answers. Just basically that she's not coming back to the crew.
She doesn't want to be a part of their crew no more.
Yeah, doesn't want to be a part of their crew. She was just using them, and they should just forget about her. Not exactly what Luffy does.
No.
She ends up leaving the room, like going out of the window.
The slowest.
I know, right?
The slowest walk out that window. Like, literally, she wanted to get caught.
But the rest of CP9 stops like Luffy and Zoro from doing anything, like getting to her. Bruno fights with Luffy a little bit.
It's Lucci that's a savage.
Lucci with his leopard fruit. It's I know it was like cat fruit model leopard. I think is how it's actually said. And he gets big when he's in his half leopard, half human form.
He's like pretty ginormous. I was like, oh, God, this is bad.
And then he just stabs Luffy and then flings him out of the building.
Yeah.
Zoro ends up getting hurt because he's seeing Luffy get beat up, so he's distracted. And then he goes flying.
Yeah. It was just Chopper, Nami, and Iceberg still in the
building, which is on fire now. And Chopper ends up grabbing Nami and Iceberg. I want to say Usopp. Grabs Nami and Iceberg and jumps out of the window, saving them. The rest of CP9, they left to go and find Franky. Luffy ended up getting stuck in between some buildings.
Zoro got stuck into a chimney.
No, that was later. He was somewhere around some houses, and he was running around the buildings to get to where he needed to go and fell into a chimney. Because I remember he was free, and then he was stuck. And it's not like he fell feet first.
No, it was head first.
Head first.
Like pretty deep in there too.
Yeah. After this, Iceberg explains to Nami what Robin told him. Because they had a conversation
in the room
when CP9 was off doing what they were doing inside the building, and she was kind of watching him. He wanted to kill her because he felt like she was a danger because she could read the poneglyphs, those big stone things we've seen in Alabasta and Skypiea. I'm pretty sure they mentioned that they were called poneglyphs anyway, but for those of you who don't remember, they're called poneglyphs. And because she can read them, she has the potential to build the Pluton. So eliminating her would be best for the world, according to him. And a lot of people. Most notably the government.
Yeah.
And the reason she does not want to go back with them is because she made a deal with CP9 that if she goes with them, then the Straw Hats can leave Water 7 safely.
Yep. Very specific.
Yeah.
Not that they'll be able to leave safely, just Water 7 safely.
Leave Water 7 safely. This made Nami really happy. Because, one, she was doing it for them. And two, because once Luffy and the rest of them found out why she was leaving, they would want her back even more. And when they have put their mind to something like that...
Oh, it's over.
There's no stopping them. The problem was they needed to find Luffy. Nobody knows where he landed.
Yeah, he was wedged in between two buildings.
Over by the shore. He went pretty far. I think around the time all this was happening, Franky went and kidnapped Usopp. Because he figured that if he had Usopp, who was a part of Luffy's crew, Luffy would come looking for him, and they could finish their fight.
Yeah.
So they captured Usopp, and he sent out his guys to go and call for Luffy, or Straw Hat, they call him, because they're not going to call him Luffy.
Straw Hat?
So they're calling for Straw Hat to come out. They have his crew member, and if they want him back, he's got to come to the their secret hideout, basically. Tom's workshops. Yeah, Tom's workers. Unfortunately, CP9 heard this.
Yeah.
Went down to them and said, "Where is this location at?" They weren't going to give it to him because it wasn't Luffy. They end up getting beat up and giving him the information.
Ends up getting there anyway.
They end up getting to the Tom's workers' workshop.
And they just knock.
They just knock on the door. Let me see. Before all this, though, Usopp and Franky are kind of doing some bonding.
Yeah.
Now that Franky's actually kind of spending some time with Usopp instead of just kicking him a few times and letting his guys pound on him. They're actually talking. And he actually kind of likes Usopp. And Usopp kind of likes him too. He's like, "You're not such a bad guy."
Not too bad.
And Usopp tells him about the thing he saw on the ship when they were in Skypiea.
Yep.
And Franky tells him, well, actually, first Usopp tells him about it and says, "You probably don't believe me. You probably think I'm crazy." And Franky's like, "No, I believe you." And tells him that that's called a Klabauterman. basically it's the manifestation of the ship's spirit, basically.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. Whenever the ship is happy that it's been well taken care of, this form comes out.
It was like creative form, so it could be seen.
Yeah, by the crew. I do remember reading about this on online. It's actually a little different in real life, where it's more of like a trickster type of thing and causes pranks and stuff around the ship.
Oh.
Not as friendly as this
one
version, but not exactly harmful, unless it does like a really mean prank or something. But in this version, it's like the manifestation of the ship. Whenever the ship has been well taken care of and is happy and all that. Usopp was happy to hear this because he was like, okay, so it was actually Mary.
And I really saw it.
And then, as Usopp is still trying to fix the ship, Franky asks him, why are you even bothering with this? The Galley-La people were right. Your ship can't be repaired. Why don't you just have me demolish it for you?
Yep.
And then he starts taking off pieces of the ship.
Like he ripped off the side of it, right?
Yeah. Like one side of it. Not even like a little piece, like the whole side.
Yeah, he was like, I was like, Jesus.
And Usopp's yelling at him and hits him with like one of his weapons. And Franky just throws him in the water and says, look for yourself. And when he goes under there, he sees how badly damaged it is. He comes back up and then just starts repairing her again. Basically telling Franky that he already knew that the ship couldn't be repaired. Which, I'm not going to lie, did make me upset.
If he knew, he should have said something.
It caused all this trouble for the crew. Not like with CP9 or anything. That was going to happen no matter what.
No, but like fighting with Luffy.
Yeah, fighting with Luffy. All the
the duel.
Infighting between them.
Quitting the crew. It's like you did all of this and you knew
that it was not going to be able to be repaired.
Gosh.
I also kind of get where he's coming from because, you know, Kaya, the girl that he made friends with on his island, gave them the ship.
Yep.
But still, it's... Oh, there was also the fact that he was feeling kind of inadequate with the others. Like, he felt like he wasn't...
able to keep up.
He wasn't pulling his weight. He wasn't basically worth keeping in the crew to begin with. So I think he was kind of just looking for a reason to leave.
Looking for a way out.
Yeah. And this was just the perfect opportunity. Plus, he was actually really angry that Luffy just straight up said, oh, we're getting a new ship.
Oh, well, we're moving on.
Yeah. I mean, if you just told me that about something that I really cared about, I'd just be like, wait a minute.
What do you mean?
Why are you just treating this like it's nothing? Yeah, so I'm angry at him still, but I kind of understand, you know, where he's coming from. Just, I kind of wish he didn't go as far as he did. Like, starting a duel? You didn't have to start a duel with Luffy.
I don't know why he needed to leave the crew.
Well, I mean, again, he did feel like he didn't hold up with any of them, so... He just didn't realize that he has his own set of skills.
Yeah, everyone has their own set of strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, Luffy can't lie, so...
Can't lie. He falls into water. It's over. You show him meat.
And
over.
Usopp's their sharpshooter. He's their sniper. He's good with the weapons. He's good at making weapons. He's...
good at that type of stuff.
Yeah. You don't have to be incredibly powerful in order to be in Luffy's crew. I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw that when he invited that dude that was trapped in the treasure chest to join the crew. Didn't he ask an animal to join his crew too?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he asked some animal.
It's Luffy for you.
Luffy doesn't care. He just wants to have a
good time.
Good time.
Good time and have good adventures.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He wants to have fun, and he wants to have good adventures with his friends.
That's literally all he wants.
That's all he wants. And if that adventure involves beating up the government and other pirate crews, then so be it.
Perfect.
But yeah, he just wants to have a good time on this adventure, and he'd rather have people that he really likes on the crew to do it with. So he doesn't care, Usopp, if you're weak or cowardly or lie all the time. He likes you. That's basically it. He wants you on the crew. But, I guess you can't really tell that to somebody who's already got it in his mind that
they don't want him.
Yeah, they don't want him, that he's kind of useless to the crew. So it took a lot more than it should have, but he finally came to his senses. We'll get to that much later.
Yeah, much
later. Around this time is when CP9 knocks on the door.
Yep.
And
the ladies,
the two girls who I do not remember their names. They have the big square hair. always with Franky. Always doing the same poses as him when he's doing his posing. They go to answer the door. And then you see them come flying back.
Yep.
After, I think, Khalifa
punches
them and basically attacks them. Franky's not happy about this.
No, you don't hit his ladies.
You don't hit his ladies. He runs over and tries to fight with as Bluno. Bluno intercepts him. And Franky's just like, Bluno? From the bar? What are you doing here? Like, that was basically everybody's reaction when they first saw Bluno. If they even remembered him. Like, the dude from the bar?
Like, what are you doing here?
And Franky's just like, what are you even trying to do? And then just squeezes his face. Like, Bluno was trying to squeeze Franky's face, and that wasn't doing anything. Franky squeezed his face and got Bluno to let go. Yep. And was actually lifting him up in the air. Again, super powerful, Franky is.
Franky's beyond strong. It's, like, insane.
All right, so we're back.
We're back.
Had to take a short break. Anyway. Again, Franky, super powerful.
Super strong. Like, too strong.
Yeah.
You're just a cyborg. Why are you that strong?
And because Franky had Bluno by the face, Bluno decided to try to use, was it finger pistol?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. He tried to use that on Franky. Tried to stab him in the face with it.
No, was it the face or was it the chest? Like,
I think it was the face. Because I think Lucci had to grab kind of high.
Yeah.
In order to stop him. Yeah, that's exactly it. One-handed. He was holding him up.
Can you see?
Like, no effort at all.
Just like unfazed. Just like
And at that point, we hadn't seen any of the CP9 members take any damage.
Yeah, no, I was like kind of scared. I was like, oh man, this is like, we're about to get whooped. I don't know how we're going to come back from this.
I mean, even Luffy wasn't doing too well against Bluno. But then again, Bluno did a lot of dodging, so...
Yeah.
But even then, still, we hadn't seen them take much damage, so seeing Franky basically make Bluno try to struggle to get away from him.
Was like, whoa. It like put into perspective like how strong Franky actually is.
Yeah. And then he almost got stabbed in the face with a finger.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that would have done for Bluno.
I was just going to say, how would that have worked?
Because I'm pretty sure Franky's face is metal, right? Would Bluno be able to stab through that?
How strong is their finger pistol?
Yeah. I think it was going through, like, brick. I don't know about metal, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
The only way to find out would have been if Lucci let him stab him.
But Lucci was like, no.
Yeah, they can't stab him because they need him alive. They need to find out where the blueprints are. Then Franky tried to fight Lucci, and that didn't go over well. Lucci is just way too powerful.
Yeah, he's just super strong. Which put that in perspective, too.
Yeah.
They're like, dang, Franky's this strong, and he can't even fight
Lucci. And Luffy's got to fight this guy.
Yeah, and we're like, man.
Everybody pretty much knows who Luffy is going to fight. As soon as they showed themselves, you knew who Luffy was going to fight.
Like, oh, yeah.
God. It's around this time we get Franky's backstory.
Yeah.
He gets knocked into the one of the little work areas for Tom's workers, where him, Iceberg, and Tom would like draw blueprints, and that triggers the backstory.
Yep.
Showing Franky when he was a little kid. I don't know, maybe 12, 13.
I'm gonna go 12.
12. Iceberg was a little older. I don't think they were about the same age. I think Iceberg was a few years older.
Like 14, 15.
Yeah. And Tom, a huge fish man. Like,
aww, Tom.
Tall and big.
He would...
With very tiny legs. People always like to say that everybody in One Piece skips a leg day.
They do. They're all, like, top-heavy, but, like...
Small legs.
They're like, what the heck?
Whenever you see a huge guy, that's usually how it is. Their legs, like, standard people, they're all pretty proportional. But you get a big guy, his legs are going to be small.
Now,
like, how are you supporting yourself with those little twigs?
Now, anytime we get a big guy, I'm going to look at their legs.
Now you're going to look at their legs?
Yeah, I'll look at their legs and see.
So basically, for the backstory, Franky was basically an orphan, and Tom basically took him in, along with Iceberg, as an apprentice. Iceberg was already his apprentice, but he took in Franky as well, who liked to build weapons.
Yeah, like small
ships with like cannons or harpoons, and he would just make them bigger and more powerful and stronger. And
he made a lot.
Yeah, Iceberg was very against this. He did not want Franky making these things. Tom didn't care though. You know, as long as Franky was, or Cutty Flam at this point, as long as he was proud of what he was making, he didn't care what he made. Did you just get shocked?
Could you tell?
I heard it. I heard a...
Yeah.
Was that from my phone?
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe I should take that off of the papers here. Okay.
I was like, oh.
Not long after they introduced the three of them. Oh, and we see Kokoro when she was younger. Did I even mention Kokoro yet at all?
I don't think we have. But she didn't really play like a super big role.
Yeah.
Yet, right? She was just the drunk.
They met her. They met her at the C train station. She was basically letting people on the trains, along with this little girl
and a rabbit.
And she's constantly drunk. She's drinking all the time. But she's in this backstory. She's Tom's wife, I'm assuming.
I'm going to assume it's the wife.
They never actually came out and said that they were married, but I'm going to assume that she was his wife.
That was the impression.
Yeah. They show her when she was younger. Skinnier. Taller.
Ooh, super tall.
Yeah.
Like, she, shrunk, 5 inches. I was like, whoa. Aging wasn't good to you.
No. And, Tom is actually getting arrested in this backstory because he built Gold D. Rogers' pirate ship. And normally the government doesn't really care what ship you make, but this ship belonged to the Pirate King.
So it was a problem.
So it was a big crime. However, Tom gets out of the sentence because he tells them that he's got an idea to help build, help bring Water 7 up, make it prosper even more. He has this idea to build what is called a sea train.
Yeah.
where it can connect to other islands to help with like bring in supplies, send out supplies,
or like trade.
Yeah, bring in trade, tourism, stuff like that. And the judge that was going to sentence Tom was like, "Could you have it go to Enies Lobby as well?" And he's like, "I don't see why not."
I'll go wherever you want it to go.
And the judge said, "All right."
Wasn't it 9 years?
10 years, I think.
10 years?
I think it was 10. I think it was an even 10. They would hold off on his sentence for 10 years to allow Tom to build the sea train, and then after that they would sentence him. So basically he was his sentence was like put on hold. So Iceberg and Cuddy Phlegm they get to work and start building the sea train. They went through many different iterations of the sea train.
Yeah.
Some didn't even float. Some were getting attacked by sea kings. There was just so many problems with trying to build this thing. But they finally got it. Got it built. It wasn't getting attacked by sea kings. It was floating. It actually traveled on the tracks.
Yep, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yes. I think Kokoro was the conductor for the very first sea train. And they actually show some of the people from Galley-La in like the crowd when they were younger.
The ladies.
The ladies were actually on the train. They got to ride on the first one. Pretty cool seeing all that. Their hair wasn't square at the time.
No, it was brown.
Yeah. And I think they finished, what, like a couple months before his sentence?
Yeah.
But then he's visited again by another government official. These guys are in black suits.
Oh, you know it's no good.
Yeah. Basically the same kind of people that are visiting Iceberg to find the blueprints for the Pluton. These are basically the same kind of people, only this one's led by an even worse guy.
Yeah.
By the name of Spandam. Got a purple nose. Kind of looks like a panda.
Oh my god. He does.
You just put that together?
Yeah, I don't know why I never made the connection of a panda. I'm usually really good at that. That was such a slow reaction time too. Oh my god.
You were like, oh yeah, he does.
Because I was trying to think. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a panda. Definitely not as cuddly as a panda. In fact, you want to punch this guy. Like, seriously. Want to punch this dude.
Yeah.
He wants to talk to Tom. Basically asking for the blueprints. Tom's not giving them to him. No. In fact, he's just laughing it off. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Why would I have something like that?
Yeah, like, I'm not that important.
This guy thinks he's like the most important person in the world. And he basically finds out that because Tom built the sea train and got it working within the time limit that he was given, his sentence is he's basically going to be pardoned from his crime of building the ship for the Pirate King and let go. Because Spandam was basically looking forward to having him get arrested so that he can interrogate him. But once he heard that, he's like, are you serious?
It's like, dang.
So he came up with a plan. A very evil plan. When the judicial ship was coming to the island, he used a lot of Franky. I'm just going to call him Franky.
Yeah, Cuddy Phlegm.
Yeah. That name's fun to say, but I prefer Franky. Took a lot of Franky's weapons from the shore.
Like 6 of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. And used them to attack the ship. Framing Tom, Franky, and Iceberg. And they all got arrested.
That didn't make sense to me, though. There was like 6 or so ships. There was 3 of them.
Yeah. how were they all like working? All 6 of them. Were they jumping from ship to ship? And they would have saw them jumping from ship to ship if that was the case.
Something.
Some people are just
They just
stupid.
want to believe what they want to believe.
Yeah. So they get him in front of the judge, and the judge is basically telling him, Also, why would he attack the ship the day of his
Like, he's
pardoning?
supposed to be pardoned. Like, that would have been that would have been the hugest red.
Yeah, the biggest red flag right there.
Like, we're about to just tell him he doesn't have to go to jail.
And then he attacks us?
Be like, that seems, I don't know, the whole situation was, like, fishy, so I don't know why.
Why they even believed it. It was just frustrating how...
Gullible?
Yeah, gullible they were. The judge was kind of sympathetic, though, with Tom.
Yeah.
He did build the sea train, and he was still getting pardoned for one crime. Tom told them to use that to pardon the 3 of them from attacking the ship. That way, Franky and Iceberg would not have to go to jail. But he would take responsibility for building the Pirate King ship and still be sentenced for that. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
So they're about to arrest him, and Franky runs over to him and tells him, "Why did you do that?" And basically goes on about how he wishes he never built those ships, and he basically hates them now.
Oh, and he got slapped in the face.
Yeah, Tom broke out of his cuffs and punched him in the face.
He flew into, like, some barrels, right?
Yeah, he flew into some barrels. And Franky's like, "What'd you do that for?"
Like, whoa.
And Tom is like, "I don't care what you build,
Who you built it for?
who you build it for, what it's used for. You do not say that you are not proud of what you built." He doesn't care at all as long as you're proud of what you made. And Franky basically just said that he was not proud of them anymore. He didn't want them anymore. He wished his name wasn't attached to them.
Not a good move for
No,
Tom.
not a good move. And I should also point out that he had a harpoon in him at the time.
Yeah.
Because he got shot with a harpoon.
Savage. Tom Savage.
Not even a standard harpoon. This had
No,
like
it
a
was
hook in it.
Thick. It was like...
It was thick and it had those little hooks to kind of keep it from getting pulled out. That's what
Yeah.
those are used for. And he pulled it out without even flinching.
He was just like... Oh. I was like, oh.
Didn't even make a sound.
Savage.
Dude was tough.
I see where Franky gets his strength.
Yeah. So they tranquilized him.
Well, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Spandam wanted them to tranquilize him because he wants to interrogate him to find out where the blueprints for the Pluton are.
Yep.
So he didn't want him dead. So they tranquilize him, and then they drag him onto the ship, onto the sea train actually, to take him to Enies Lobby.
The one he made.
Yeah, the one he made. Franky ends up going over to the sea train,
The front of it.
on the track, to try to stop it. It hits him,
Flies.
and he just gets tossed aside. They kind of did it in a slow-mo, so it kind of looked like maybe he had a chance of stopping it.
He didn't.
But then he kind of lost his footing, and that was it. He went flying. Basically, most of his body was damaged in the hit, and
Yeah.
he's just kind of floating in the ocean.
You're just laying there like that.
Might as well just go through this whole backstory, because they don't show that whole part until after they're starting to build their new ship.
So we're just going to finish the whole backstory?
Yeah, we're just going to talk about the whole thing. That way we don't have to bring it up later.
Okay.
I might skip the part about how he gets his guys, though.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think we should just focus on that and then keep going, because we still have a...
We still got a lot.
Yeah, we still got a lot
Okay, so they got Franky. CP9 has Franky. And they end up taking Usopp as well. And releasing the Mary. They drop it into the ocean. At this point, it seems like this is the last time we're going to see the ship.
Yeah, we're saying
farewell to the Mary at this point. So them, Robin, Usopp, Franky, they all get taken to the sea train. Franky's fighting the entire time. He's biting people.
Yeah. You don't mess with Franky.
Franky's a biter, okay?
He is a biter. Oh my god. He will go down biting. Not biting. Biting.
Yeah. And Sanji is at the sea train. He's at the station because he was waiting there for them to show up so that he can follow them and let Nami and them know what's going on. Meanwhile, Nami has found Luffy, tells him what Robin is doing, like why she's leaving, getting Luffy to break out of the wedge he's in.
Yeah, the funk.
Yeah.
He's in a funk.
And then Zoro ends up getting found by Chopper, who gets out of the chimney by using his sword to cut it. And then they barely get out of the Aqua Laguna. Because there was a wave coming.
It was pretty bad. At this point, the Aqua Laguna is like overtaking
the first level of Water 7. And they end up getting away. They do end up falling in a little bit. Like once they get on that bridge type thing,
yeah,
a wave hits and they fall in. But Paulie uses his ropes to get them out, saving them all.
Hallelujah for Paulie.
Yes. He's now on their side because he knows what's going on. He was there. He witnessed it.
He saw it with his own eyes.
Now they just got to figure out how to get to Robin. Because they're on a sea train. The train left early. And there's a big storm going.
Yeah. There's no more sea train.
Or so we thought. Kokoro says that there's another one. And she leads them to it. It's called the Bullet Man. Basically, it is super fast, but it has no brakes.
They would build something like that. Super effective.
Yeah.
The best sea train out there. Even better than our first one.
Yeah.
What do you ask? No brakes.
No brakes.
No brakes.
No brakes. And it has a face.
Right.
Kind of like a shark.
Brakes are for wusses.
Exactly. Who needs brakes? We'll just run into what we're going to stop into. So they use that and start heading out. Sanji is on the other sea train. And he frees Franky and Usopp. Usopp basically tells him that it's none of his business anymore. He's not a part of the crew. He doesn't need to be in here. So he leaves. And I don't know how, but some guy named Soge King shows up.
In a mask.
In a mask and a cape. Singing his own theme song. About how he's king of the snipers. And it comes from the island of the snipers.
Oh my god.
It's like a Power Rangers style theme song. And he sings it any chance he gets.
All the time.
All the time he's singing that theme song. And he basically tells everybody that Usopp sent him to help find Robin and get her back to the crew. But he had to leave. He had to go do something else.
He's no longer here.
So we don't see Usopp at all for the rest of this time.
Yeah, he's like MIA.
Well, like one section we see him. I don't know how he got there, though. So they end up making a plan. I think there was like 7 cars? Something like that?
Yeah. 2 to 1. Yeah, about 6.
About 6. They end up derailing the back car. Well, not derailing, detaching the back car. They lure the people from the second car into the last one, and then they just pull the pin.
They're smart.
Yeah. Then they end up going through maybe 1 or 2 more cars with just some random weaklings. And then they get to the next car, which is the cooking car.
Ramen Tempo.
Yes. With, I think his name's Wanzi. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive it's Wanzi.
All I remember is Ramen Tempo.
Yes, he uses ramen tempo.
Nasty.
All of the ramen comes out of his nose. Super gross. I would not eat any of it.
I would not eat at his restaurant.
No.
I thought.
Be a big health problem going on there.
What if he had a cold?
Oh, God. It'd be like raining ramen out of his nose.
Ugh.
Dude is super weird looking. It's like crazy eyes, white curly hair,
Yeah.
buck teeth. He's on skates.
He is. He's like.
It's kind of hard to tell when he's scared, because he did mention a couple times that scared him. Like Sanji tried to attack him and he dodged, and you're like, that scared me. But he's got the same face, like the
his
same look on his
expression
face.
does not change
No,
at all.
not at all. So Sanji and him end up fighting, and Franky and Usopp, Soge King.
No, Usopp's not here.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
They go on top of the train. They're trying to go past everybody and just get to Robin's car. But the newest member of CP9 is in one of the cars before the main group, and he goes on top of the train to fight Franky, while Soge King goes off to Robin's car.
On some squid, with some squid shoes.
Squid shoes. Franky's actually doing really good against this guy. His name's Nero. And he's kind of cat-like. He did kind of look cattish.
Yeah, he
like
was.
His face.
He had like whiskers.
Yeah. Guy thought he was really good. I think he was only able to use 4 techniques out of the 6.
Yeah, he wasn't fully...
He wasn't able to use all the techniques, but he was getting there.
He was getting it.
But right now he can only use like 4. He does kind of find out Franky's weakness, which is his back. Because Franky installed all of his own parts, he could not reach the back. No. So it's still flesh and blood. So the guy kept trying to attack Franky's back. And was succeeding a little bit.
The shade.
But then Franky thought, okay, well, see if you can get past this defense. And he just lies on his back.
I know, he just fell back and he's like, ugh, get me now. So I'm just like, wow.
I mean, that works, but what are you going to do against him?
That's one way to
handle the situation.
Go right.
And then he uses one of his stronger techniques. The Franky Centaur?
Yeah, oh my god. Where his body goes forward and gets the
the front part of his legs go poof. Weird looking. You don't ever see a centaur like that.
Yeah, no, it was like a reversed.
But then again, the back part of him is human, so he can't exactly make that stretch. And if he could, it'd probably hurt a lot.
Probably have to loosen up his joints.
Even Nero was like, what kind of centaur is this? Centaur don't look like this.
It was weird.
But he ends up getting him. He like wraps his legs around him. And then uses, a coup de vent again? Did he go like this? And do the coup de vent?
Yeah.
Beating him? Well, he didn't actually knock him out, but he knocked him into the car with the other CP9 members. Sanji is fighting Wanzi and ends up having to use knives. Never seen Sanji fight with knives.
I know. I'm used to him with his legs.
Yeah. But seeing as how he is a chef, he is really good with those knives.
Yeah.
Cut through all of Wanzi's ramen. Kicked him so hard that he made his face normal.
He looked way better.
He did, and he was all upset about it.
He's like, my face! What did you do?
And then Sanji kicked him again, and he went back to normal, but was knocked out. Usopp is in the car with Robin.
Worst disguise ever.
Yeah, worst disguise ever. the guy that kept visiting Iceberg walked in, and he was hiding inside of Robin's, like, hood. Cloak.
Just, like, under.
Yeah, like, under it. His little mask was sticking out.
His nose was sticking out.
Yeah, his nose was sticking out.
It was, like, the worst. I was like, man.
He was using his arms to make little gestures every time he spoke. She spoke. Like... And the guy's just looking at Robin like, what the heck is going on here?
Just squinting like, something's weird about you.
He even noticed the nose. Like, I think he was like...
staring at it.
Yeah.
Did nothing.
And smelled Usopp, because he could smell pirates. Remember that?
Yep. I could smell the fear.
No, just pirates. Not even fear. Like, he just smells pirates.
Oh, I smell the fear.
It would have been better if it was smell the fear. But no, it was pirates. I don't know how you specifically smell a pirate.
What does a pirate smell like?
Dirt, sea, gunpowder, rubber.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
But he ends up leaving. And Usopp is basically telling Robin, you come back to the crew. And she's like, no, I'm not going. Thinking, that she's doing them a favor by being captured and going to Enies Lobby because she's saving them.
She should have known that they were going to follow her.
Yeah. And Soge King tells her, believe in Luffy. He's not going to just leave you.
It's funny that he says that.
Yeah. He's the one that started the whole thing, but caused the whole scene with the crew. And he's the one saying, believe in Luffy. He knows how Luffy is. So...
Luffy could be a little bit difficult.
Oh yeah, he can be difficult to deal with, but...
Man.
But you got a good captain there.
Can't get that kind of loyalty.
No. They end up going into the other car. I forget how. I think that other guy came in and saw them. Right? Did he see them? Did he see him? Like, I knew there was somebody in here? Or was that when they went into the other car and he was there?
I think it's when he went into the other car.
I do remember.
I don't remember exactly why they walked out, but they walked out.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Robin dragged out Usopp.
Probably.
Because he was trying to get her to escape.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And she didn't want to. That's what it was. And then she brought him out to the car where CP9 was and was like, I'm not going. I don't want to go. And they kind of just laughed at him.
Yeah. And Franky and Sanji are there, too.
Yeah.
They do end up getting her onto one of the other cars, though. Thanks to Soge King. He uses a smoke grenade type thing, filling the car up. And then he grabs her, and they run onto the next car, and then they start to, they detach it. But Bluno...
It's fast.
Gets over there, grabs the two cars, and is holding them. Sanji tries to get him to let go by kicking him.
But he's too strong. Doesn't even move.
Then he tries doing like a spin thing, building up more speed, and kicks him, and actually does a little damage. Bluno actually made a face and was like bending in, despite using his iron body technique. Was it Tekai? Something like that? I think is what they were saying, right?
I think so.
But I think it translates to iron body. But even with that, he made Bluno's body bend in and hurt him. But he didn't let go. I'll give Bluno that. he could take a beating. It wasn't until Franky basically tackled the guy.
Yeah, he charged at him.
No, he pushed the side of the car.
That's what it was.
And broke that off, pushing that and himself back onto their car.
So they could escape. Soge King and Sanji could escape with Robin.
Yeah, and then that was all in vain because Bluno just used his door fruit, opening a door in the air in the other car, I believe he punched Sanji.
Yeah.
And then Robin just walked in there with him and went with them. Because, again, she thinks she's helping them by going.
Yeah, she thinks she's protecting him.
Sanji's still a little confused about what's going on, why she's leaving with them.
Yeah, why she won't stay.
It's not until he gets back with the rest of the crew.
He finds out what's
really going on. The other sea train ends up making it to Enies Lobby, where we are reintroduced to Spandam, who now has a big mask type thing on his face.
He's a jerk.
Because, was it Franky who punched him? Or was it Tom?
I have a feeling it was Tom, but I don't.
Somebody smashed in his face.
I think it's Tom.
And now he's got to wear this big, like, leather thing on his face to keep it in place, basically.
Oh, good. He was a jerk.
He's an even bigger jerk now.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. The guy's not even, like, powerful. And he was, like, one of the worst villains.
One of the weakest people we've seen, but the most evil.
Yeah. And, of course, it would be somebody from the government.
What would we expect? Any less? No.
Thinks he's, like, all high and mighty.
Because he's from the government.
Because he's from the government. And in charge of CP9. That was, like, his biggest thing. I'm the leader of CP9.
I got them going behind me.
Anyway, they show him again, and he's got 3 other members of CP9 with him. Fukuro, Kumadori, and Jabra. Yeah. They just came back from a mission that was nearly ruined by Fukuro. Because he can't keep his mouth shut.
Chop, chop.
It's supposed to be secretive. And he's blabbing to everybody about what's going on.
I spilled the beans.
Yeah, he spilled the beans.
That's exactly what he said, too.
Yeah.
I spilled the beans. Choppa, choppa.
Oh, God. Kumadori is trying to kill himself. Because, honor and all that. But he's using Iron Body at the same time as he's trying to stab himself. So it's breaking the sword or the knife that he's trying to use. And then he's just even more sad because he can't even kill himself.
Whoa.
Jabra's just over to the side like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets the call saying that the sea train has arrived and that Robin is basically
on Enies Lobby.
At Enies Lobby. Along with Franky, who he's happy to see again. It was Franky, because I remember he was upset at him because of...
Well, what happened to his face.
What happened to his face.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. The other sea train shows up not much long after.
Yeah, they were pretty, close, but granted, that thing was going so fast.
Yeah.
And also it doesn't have brakes, so...
Should also mention that Enies Lobby is surrounded by a huge storm, but never has the sun off of it. Like, there's a huge hole in the clouds.
Yeah. Where
the sun is coming down on Enies Lobby. I think, what is the island that never has darkness or something like that? Funny, seeing as how the people in charge of that place are
darkness.
Evil.
You're a bad guy.
They're going over their plan on how they're going to get into the place. Kind of have a repeat of their incident at Iceberg's house. Because they're going over the plan, and Luffy just launches himself into the island.
Luffy does what Luffy does best. He went solo. And Nami again is going like, what the heck is he doing? I don't know why she's surprised though.
And I think it was Sanji this time who's like, well, we should have saw this coming. Like, it's Luffy. You know what he's going to do. He's going to hear our plan and then he's going to do whatever he wants.
That's exactly what happens.
I think by the time Galley-La and the Franky family, who are with them, we didn't mention that they joined their trip to go to the
it's
Enies Lobby.
Paulie, the weird guy that has like
that spike
the spikes in his hair,
where he keeps going like this and it comes out somewhere else. And the
Franky
guy that always
family.
yells with the beard.
Yeah. He's there. Franky family, the girls.
And those two giant sea creatures that they have.
Yeah, they're there. The little girl and the bunny's there.
Yeah.
Straw Hats are obviously there.
They're all there.
Yeah, pretty much everyone.
Anybody that was important is there.
Anybody that's anybody.
Except for Iceberg. He was left on the island.
He was recovering.
Yeah, he's recovering. And clearing their name. Because he has to tell them that the Straw Hats didn't try to kill him. The Franky family and the Galley-La group, they end up getting on the island before Zoro and them because they're trying to open up the gates to give them just free entry into the island. And they end up getting to Gate 2, where they end up fighting two giants.
Yep, we don't remember the names.
Yeah, we don't remember the names. They do end up beating the giants, thanks to the two sea creatures they have.
Yeah.
They showed up a little late, but they ended up coming in and basically stomping on the giants. And then I think they stapled their faces to the wall or something. They used something that stuck the skin into the wall. Remember?
Yeah.
Very painful looking.
It was like...
Yeah, their faces were stretched.
It looked rough.
And after all that, the group was Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Kokoro, the little girl, and the bunny.
Soge King.
And Soge King. End up getting onto the island by using the gate to shoot themselves into the island. And then it just goes over the second gate, and they're like, why did we even go through all this if that is what you were going to do?
You're just going to hop over. You could just let us know.
Then they land. They get out, and they start fighting with the Marines. Soge King ends up getting left behind. They got onto the giant sea creatures, but then he falls off. I remember that. He fell off. And they didn't even notice. It wasn't until one of them was talking to Chopper and was like, oh, hey, by the way.
You're missing one of those guys. He fell off like a long...
Yeah, he was like, is it okay that guy fell off? The one with the big nose? Was it fine that he fell off? And Chopper's like,
back.
What? And he's like, he just asked if it was okay if that one guy fell off. And they're looking around and they're like, where's Usopp?
Usopp.
By the way, they're not calling him Soge King. The only one out of them who thinks it's actually Soge King
is Luffy.
And Chopper.
Yeah.
Chopper believes it's Soge King too. And not Usopp. The rest of them are like, come on, man. You could have got a better disguise. Your nose is obviously giving it away.
It's hard when you have a nose like that.
And it actually worked out for the best. Because he ended up making friends with those giants. Mainly because they were working for the government because they believed that their captains, Dory and Brogy from Little Garden, were in Enies Lobby. And the government told them that if they worked for them for, I believe it was 100 years, that they would let them go. And at this point, they had worked half of that. And now they've let people invade the island, so now they're never going to see their captains again. And Usopp's like, are you talking about Dory and Brogy?
Yeah.
They're still on Little Garden.
They're still fighting.
They've been fighting this entire time.
They're still fighting. They're still battling.
That definitely gets the giants on their side because they've just been deceived for like 50 years.
That's 50 years of their life.
Yeah. Considering a giant only lives for 300. I say only.
It's just only 300.
300 years. That's Well, I don't even know how old they were to begin with.
Mm.
For all we know, that could have been like the halfway point of their life. So they end up going with Sogeking to help out the rest of the guys who are getting overrun by the Marines.
Yeah, no chance.
I think it's it was one of the dragon things, pink.
Yeah, pink and green.
Ends up getting hit with a huge like cannon type thing. What do they call it?
I'm not sure. I know he goes blind.
The blue one goes blind. The pink one gets hurt really badly, and they end up having to go over to the blue one because he can't go anymore.
Yeah.
And then the blue one goes blind, and they're basically having to tell him, go this way, that way.
Trying to steer him.
But it's not really working too well. He's hitting buildings and
crashing into things.
But he does get them to the main building, like the main gate, to lower the drawbridge to get into the main building, the big building. I don't know. Anyway, they tell the Straw Hats to go ahead, go ahead of them. At this point, Luffy is fighting Bluno. Luffy had already made it to this point, and Bluno noticed him and went to go meet him. And they're having a fight. At this time, it's kind of even. Luffy and Bluno are not really hurting each other too much, but
it's pretty evenly matched.
Until Luffy uses his new technique.
Yeah, shook it.
Called Gear Second, where he basically... I forget how they explained it. Lucci explains it. Where he's speeding up the blood flow in his body.
Yep.
Causing it to make him, increase his abilities. So he's faster, he's stronger, he's just better. And he uses this to defeat Bluno.
Yep.
Bluno was not able to see him at all.
No, he was going by super fast.
Yeah. Oh. He had to use his door fruit to get away, certain points. And Luffy ended up beating him with a jet bazooka, which actually uses his entire body. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Where he would hit with his whole body. Boom. And it looked like Bluno was still going to be standing, because he was still standing for a little bit. He even had a smile on his face. And then Luffy was about to use another new technique, but then Bluno collapsed.
We were
thank God.
We got a chance.
Yeah. The rest of the crew, they're making their way through that drawbridge building, trying to get to the top to where Luffy is.
Yeah.
Luffy calls out to Robin, and she and CP9 with Spandam all go to the ledge out there,
the balcony.
The balcony. And Luffy's telling her, "Look, I came to get you. Let's go. Come on." And Robin again tells him,
"No.
I'm not going with you. Why did you even show up here?
Why are you here?
I just want to go with them and I want to die." Luffy's whoa, what? Okay. But then as the rest of the crew are coming up, Luffy's telling her, "Look, I'm already here. I'm going to rescue you, okay? If you want to die after that, then you can go ahead and die. But I'm going to come and save you."
Yeah, but as far as right now, too bad.
Yeah, you're going to have to hold off on dying. Then the rest of the crew shows up. And this is where we get Robin's backstory. Belle had been interested in Robin's backstory since she came onto the crew.
She was just fascinating to me. I was curious.
Didn't know a whole lot about her. You knew she was quiet. You knew she liked to read. You knew she was an archaeologist. She was actually the first one Luffy didn't actively try to get.
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah. She actually went onto the ship and said, I got nowhere else to go, and part of that's because of you, so let me join you.
And Luffy was like, okay.
So, yeah, that's the only person I think that Luffy has not actively tried to get to join the crew.
Yeah, everyone else he did.
So we get to her backstory, and we start where she is really young.
Yeah, like little.
Little. She's living with, I think, her aunt.
Yeah.
And they're treating her horribly.
It kind of reminds me of Cinderella.
Oh, yeah, because they got her doing all the chores and...
Giving her, what was it, just like bread while she took the others
had to eat. Yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it reminded me of Cinderella.
But again, even at a young age, she liked to read and she liked to study archaeology. She would borrow books from Professor Clover. It's easy to remember his name because his hair was a clover. It was even green.
Oh my god, it
was. She goes back to return a book she borrowed. And all of the people that are in this, like, archaeology research type...
Oh, the archaeologists.
Are throwing her a birthday party, right? Or what was she?
No,
she passed an exam.
She had officially became...
An archaeologist. Yes, that was it. She became an archaeologist. Like, she got her certificate and everything.
Yeah.
So they were having a party for her. And they did get kind of angry at her in this because she did say that she wanted to learn more about the poneglyphs.
Yeah.
And the history of that's on there.
The history that we're missing.
Yeah, there's a thing. I don't know if they've officially said the name of it, but it's basically called the Void Century. Because it's basically wiped off from the history books. But these poneglyphs basically are telling you what's happened. That and they have blueprints to certain weapons that people want.
Everyone wants the weapons.
Yeah, because they're incredibly powerful. But they basically tell her that she can't study these things. It's basically, you're breaking the law.
It's forbidden.
Reading these things. So he basically forbids her from learning anything about this.
Yeah.
She's sad, but she's like, okay.
It is what it is.
And then she goes off into the woods, because, there's a lot of woods in this island. Ohara? That's the name of the island, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ohara. And basically, the island is, like, the island centerpiece is this huge tree, like in the center of the island.
It's like the tree of knowledge.
Yes. Basically, because it's all filled with the books and everything. That's where they do their archaeology. They have a huge, like, globe of, like, I guess their solar system, or even just the Earth. Was it just the Earth? I think it was just the Earth.
I think it was just the Earth.
Did you notice how many moons it had?
It was like...
It's a lot. Yeah. So you actually learned a little bit about their
solar system.
Solar system, or that just one planet. Definitely not like our Earth. It was only one moon.
Yeah.
A lot of moons. But she goes into the forest and she finds a giant.
Samuel.
Yeah, a giant. Makes friends with him. Basically helps him out because he's just washed ashore. So she's like bringing him food and water. Needs a lot of food and water.
Yeah.
But she's like bringing him bread and he's just, tossing it in his mouth.
It's like little Tic Tacs.
Yeah. But what else is she going to do? She's going to go over to the bakery and say, hey, I need a bread for a giant. They're going to be like, what do you need this for? Nothing. And then somebody's going to follow her and find him and cause a whole thing. Anyway. She ends up talking with him and he's a nice guy. His name's Saul. What has he got? Red hair?
Yeah.
It's just too bad he doesn't have a soul. And I forget how long he was on the island, but he was there up until he made a raft to get off of the island.
Yeah.
She was very upset about this. She didn't want him to leave because it's basically her only friend. All the other kids made fun of her because she just liked to learn, which is a stupid reason to make fun of somebody.
Kids are stupid.
And the adults didn't really like her all that much either.
No, everyone kind of treated her really
badly, except for the archaeologists. They treated her nice.
Yeah.
It's around this time you'll learn that her mother actually left on an expedition to find some poneglyphs, right?
Yeah.
And
her and a crew, right?
Yeah, her and I don't know how many people were in the crew, but there was a pretty decent sized crew that went to go look for them. And they were attacked by the Marines? Or did the Marines just find them?
I think they were attacked by them.
Yeah. I kind of feel like they were attacked by the Marines.
I think they were looking for them.
Yeah.
And then they found them and they attacked them.
And killed pretty much all of them except for Robin's mother. I forget her name.
She's got blonde, long,
icy
hair.
Yeah. Definitely looks like Robin. Like
uncanny.
If you looked at them side by side with Robin being older, they would look exactly the same. Only she had longer, brighter hair. Saul hears about this, and he's like, I don't even think he knew what island he was on. And finally asks her, what island is this? And she's like, Ohara? And he's like, oh, why is it this island? And he ends up telling her that she needs to get away.
She needs to go.
Yeah. That something bad is going to happen. She ends up going to the archaeologists again, and at this point, the Navy has arrived to the island. They're looking for Robin's mother, and they're thinking she came back to the island, which she did.
Yeah. Which is so, like...
Yeah, she did. She did go back to the island. And she ends up leaving with the Marines again to keep them from getting into trouble. But didn't really matter. They were still getting into trouble. They basically knew what these archaeologists were studying, and basically all of them were in trouble.
The law.
Yeah. Excuse me. This dude that's in charge of the group he's with for the Marines, he's on the phone with basically the higher ups in the Navy, called the Gorosei. And Professor Clover is like, let me talk to them. And the guy wasn't going to let him, but they said, you know what, is that Professor Clover? You know, go ahead, put him on the phone. Because he's pretty well known for a lot of the discoveries and things that he's brought to the world. So, for one, they're kind of upset at this guy for
doing what he did,
being a part of this, yeah. So I guess they kind of think he's going to explain the situation. And not what he actually did, which was basically break down why the world government is covering up this whole void century.
Yeah.
That there was an ancient civilization in the past, and they were attacked by a unified group that basically was afraid of them. And this ancient civilization wrote out this history on these stones that cannot be broken. How they even wrote on them?
What did they use to write on them?
Yeah. And if you remember, Goldie Roger, he wrote on one of them too.
Roger.
I
don't know how he wrote on it either.
Maybe with his hand? How would he do that?
Wasn't it? It was engraved, not just like written on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, did he use his finger?
I don't know.
Anyway, basically that this other country that wiped out this civilization, basically what he was hinting at was that's the world government that we have today. And they're covering this up because they don't want anybody to know what they did. Before he could even get that far, though,
They shot him.
the Gorosei told them to shoot him. So they did. But
no hesitation.
in typical One Piece fashion, he didn't die.
No one dies.
No one dies. Well, everybody died in this situation.
Yeah.
But not because they got shot with a gun. They also end up invoking what is called a Buster Call, where they have 10 marine warships surround the island and just bombard it with cannon fire.
Until everyone's dead.
Until everyone is dead. In this situation, the Navy, or the Marines, I keep wanting to say the Navy for some reason, the Marines were evacuating people. Those that were not archaeologists were allowed to get onto a ship and leave. What they did not expect was for one of the vice admirals to shoot down that ship.
It blew up.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Because he said, how do we know an archaeologist did not sneak onto that ship? So we have to be sure and just wipe them all out. And they almost did. Robin was about to get on that ship.
Yeah.
Who announced to everybody when she was trying to get her mother's attention that she can read the poneglyphs. I understand why she was saying all this, but not exactly the best time to be spouting out that you can read the poneglyphs.
As all this was going down.
Yeah. They didn't bother with Robin. Like, they left her alone. Because, I mean, they already invoked the Buster Call, so, I mean, she was going to die anyway. And then, as the cannons are firing, Saul comes over to them.
Running.
Yeah. And Robin's mom is, like, wondering what he's doing there. Because he was actually the one that helped her escape when she was captured. Because he's kind of wondering, why is the government doing this? You know, why are they after these archaeologists for just learning about history?
Yeah.
He was kind of doubting their...
What they were doing. Their motives.
Their justice is basically how it's told in this. And he didn't believe in it. So he did his own thing, talked to her, found out what she's actually trying to do, helped her escape, and acted as a decoy to let her get away. Then his ship got destroyed, and he just wound up on their island.
What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds of that happening? Did work out for the best, though, because he did help Robin get away. Although he did get frozen by Aokiji.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
He's telling Robin, you know, you're alone right now, but sometime later, who knows how long,
You will make some friends.
who will protect you, look out for you, and you just have to go and live and laugh.
Yes.
Because he says whenever you're sad, you should laugh. Because you can't be sad if you're laughing. Which is not true.
I was about to be like...
You could be very sad while you're laughing.
I'd be like, I would beg to differ.
And while he's getting frozen, Robin runs off, crying. Because, I mean, her friend just got frozen.
Her only friend.
Her only friend. This was around the time the ship got blown up with the normal people.
Yeah.
With the citizens. And even Aokiji was like, what the heck is going on?
It was chaotic.
Like, why did they blow up that ship?
With all the citizens.
And Saul is asking him, is that what you believe in? He's like, I don't want him to kill people. That's not what I'm trying to do.
I just want justice.
Yeah. And he ends up letting Robin escape. He makes like a little pathway using his ice.
Yeah. In the water.
With a little boat. And tells her to just go and live her life. So she leaves. And as she's watching her island burn down, she's trying to do what Saul told her to do.
Laugh. But she was crying.
She ended up just stopped laughing and just, started crying. After everything that was going on.
It was too much.
I'm sure the laughing thing helps for small things. But something like this where your mother dies, everybody you cared about died.
All the other archaeologists, all that history.
Is gone. Well, they threw all the books in the river. As much as they could. In that little moat around the tree. Who knows how much they saved. Definitely not the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there was a lot in there. Like, it was coming out of the water. Then they show Robin's basically living on the run. The government is after her because that guy told the government that she could read the poneglyphs.
Yeah. So
they put a 79 million berry bounty on her. I think it was 79 million.
I thought you had it.
No, I don't got it. Eventually, I'll get all the wanted posters. And she's going from house to house because every time she stops somewhere, the person that she's staying with just starts getting greedy and wants to turn her in for the money.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who it is. Old lady tried to turn her in for the money. Family tried to turn her in for the money. Pirates were trying to turn her in for the money after she started getting too much to handle, like with all the Marines coming after them. They were like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Let's just turn her in. There was nobody she could trust. Then they show when she meets Crocodile, who knew who she was and knew that she could read the poneglyphs, and started employing her so that she can find the Pluton and tell him how to make it. And then we get to now.
Yeah.
Where she's with Luffy and them. And she basically just tells them nobody ever just allowed me to live. You all will eventually get tired of me as well.
And you will do the same.
And you will abandon her. Abandon me. After hearing this story, and Spandam going on a little rant about now you know what kind of people, you're dealing with. Luffy's like, Sogeking, shoot down that flag. And he just uses his... he went on this little introduction of his weapon.
Yeah.
Got his Firebird star and shot right through the flag for the world government.
Declaring war.
Yeah, which for those who don't know, basically declares war on the world. That is some loyalty right there. If you're going to declare war on the world for one person...
You're willing to... That's someone I want to be with.
Yeah. Imagine what he'd do for the rest of them.
Exactly.
Like, for everybody in his crew. He would do that for any of them.
He would risk it all for any of them.
Yep. Saw that when he fought Arlong.
Yeah.
And, Crocodile. For Vivi. Lost twice. Nearly died twice.
Yeah, they threw him in the sand.
Yep. So they burned down the flag. Spandam is like, do you even know what
you just
did? And blah, blah, blah. And Luffy's like...
I don't care.
I don't... Yeah. So what? I don't care. And then starts yelling to Robin, you need to actually tell me that you want to live. Because he hasn't heard it yet.
Yep.
All he's heard is she wants to die. Now he wants her to actually say she wants to live. And I'm getting emotional.
I know. I was growing out my nails and now they're all gone.
And then they show her and they start doing like a little kind of montage thing of everybody that's tried to turn her in.
All the people that she's lost, all the people that were close to her.
And then ending with Saul.
Talking about...
Telling her that she's going to find people who really care about her. I'm trying not to cry right now. And that is when she finally yells out that she wants to live. And she wants to go back out to sea with them. That is all they needed to hear.
And they were game on.
Yep. I mean, from what we heard earlier, Luffy didn't care. He was going to save her anyway. And if she wanted to die afterwards, then fine. But now he's got her saying she wants to live.
So he's like, alright, I'm going to give you even more.
It's like, the man just declared war on the world. Mm-hmm. If you can't trust this guy...
You can't trust nobody.
Yeah.
You'll never trust anybody.
Nope. And then for some reason they cut off for 5 episodes to do backstories on all the characters. But we skipped those. That is the worst place to do that.
Yeah, that was just like... I was like...
I mean, you just have all this emotion going into the rest of this whole arc. And you just kind of destroyed all of it by doing that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we skipped.
Yeah.
And we didn't go back. And we're not going back. I think the guy that asked about the little skits says that they're after those episodes.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure they're after those episodes. So we might go back to watch the little skits. But other than that, we're not watching the whole episode.
Yeah, no, we don't need to watch how
they all join the crew and their motivations and stuff like that. We know all that. We don't need to see all that. It's getting hot in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Grant's got the heater on. That's why.
I'm sitting over here. I'm like...
I'm looking over. I see this going on. That means the heater is on.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm
like,
oh my god, I can feel like I'm dying.
I thought it was because of all the emotion I was feeling. Just explaining this whole thing with Robin.
I was like, oh my god. I was sitting here. I was like, it's so warm.
But yeah. I remember at this point I told Belle there's still something even sadder coming up. So... Was
there?
Yeah. Like, this is sad, but just wait until later.
Well, I'll cry like a little girl. We'll be ready.
So Luffy and them are now getting ready to go and fight CP9 for Robin. They were going to do it anyway, but now they've got a real reason to, because she wants to go back.
Yep.
Before they were just going to drag her back, and if she wanted to still leave or die, then, that was her choice. But now they got her actually wanting to come back to them. Almost didn't happen because the drawbridge kind of got broken.
Oh, but before that, doesn't Franky burn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't want to forget that.
Franky did burn the blueprints to the Pluton. He pulled them out and showed them. And actually said, like, Kaku, Lucci, you two were shipwrights. You should be able to tell if these are real. And starts flipping through the pages. And just from the look on their face...
Said it all.
You knew they were the real thing. And then he set them on fire.
Burn, baby, burn.
And tosses them into the water. And then Spandam pushes him over the edge.
Yeah.
He had to do it when Franky's back was turned.
Right. Because he's a coward.
But he pushed him over the edge. I remember because we saw them jump. Yeah. And then we see Franky falling.
We're like, what the heck?
Yeah, we're like, what happened to Franky? And that's when they went back and they showed what happened. That he burned the blueprints and Spandam pushed him over. I forget how exact. I think Luffy used one of his techniques to get them all free. He grabbed them all and then used what? He did some kind of technique that shot them up.
Yeah, where it was like a slingshot almost.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of that technique he uses, but I'm pretty sure that's what he did. Getting Franky as well. Because he was basically in the right spot when they were coming by. Yeah, he just aligned. They get in, they get their plan together, Fukuro shows up and starts telling him what's going down. That Robin has got handcuffs on, sea stone handcuffs. And each one of them has a key to a set of handcuffs. And they have to defeat all of them to get each of their keys to find out which one goes to Robin's. I know there were certain parts he wasn't supposed to say. And every time he did, he'd be like, I spilled the beans again.
Oh my god. I spilled the beans.
He was funny.
Yeah.
And then he went off somewhere. And then the rest of them are like, okay, well, we're going to look around this place and see whoever we find. Luffy just says, I'm going to go get Robin.
Yep.
So he runs off to try to find where she went.
Literally running everywhere.
Everywhere. If it wasn't for the little girl, he never would have found them.
No.
Or the others. The others probably wouldn't have found them either, because she showed them the same route too.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah.
Talk about being in the right place.
The one time a little kid character was not useless. Usually you get a show, live action, animated, whatever, and there's a little kid, they end up being annoying and useless, and you're like, why are you even here? In this case, she actually helped. So, good on her. And the rabbit. Because he was there too to witness everything. Luffy even tried to take a boat out to the gate.
Yeah.
But there's like currents, like whirlpools all over the place, and he nearly drowned. The little girl ended up saving him. Also, not useless. Very helpful in this section of the arc.
I think so, girl.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. Gonbei. Was that her name?
Yeah.
Or was that the rabbit? She's gonna look that up.
Keep going. I'll let you.
But around this time is when everybody starts finding who they're gonna fight. Some of them do end up changing. But for right now, the battles are Nami versus Kumadori, Franky versus Fukuro. I actually think Chopper found him first, but Chopper wasn't actually trying to fight the guy. Sanji versus Khalifa. Usopp versus Jabra, and Zoro versus Kaku. The only one out of this that I actually thought made a lot of sense was Zoro versus Kaku, because they started fighting in the other building, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, he needed to get revenge on the guy, since he got kind of a cheap shot on Zoro. Nami and Kumadori...
Chimney.
Was it?
Chimney.
Chimney, okay. Gonbei must be the rabbit.
Kiwi Square. Where's the rabbit?
Anyway, I should continue talking.
Yeah.
Nami and Kumadori was a total mismatch. She could not do anything against that guy. He was able to control his hair, basically his entire body. He was able to control, like,
yeah,
to a superhuman extent. But his hair was his main weapon, where he would have it stretch out, grab people, he'd make spears out of it. Definitely not somebody Nami wants to fight. Usopp versus, in my opinion, any of these people.
Not good.
Or Sogeking versus any of these people was not a good fight. And Sanji versus Khalifa.
He doesn't hit women.
Yeah. We knew that going in. Sanji does not attack women.
He loves them.
Does not matter what is going on. He will not hurt them. In fact, every time he tried to attack her, he would stop and be like, you just got kicked in the face.
I know. Felt that. You would have been dead right now.
Yeah, and then she'd kick him in the crotch.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have stood a chance against Sanji.
No.
If he was actually like somebody who hit women,
Oh yeah,
she would have been done. Like that first kick would have probably been all he needed. But no.
Yeah, when she was on the ground.
Yeah.
Would have been game over.
But no, Sanji does not hit women, and it was he wouldn't do anything against her. Oh, we did forget to mention that Kaku and Khalifa did get devil fruits.
Yeah.
Before this whole situation.
He turned into a giraffe.
Yeah, Kaku was a giraffe, and Khalifa was a
like soap
bubble person.
Like soap, like she would turn people into like.
She'd like scrub them clean.
Yeah, like they would be smooth.
Yeah, was it the smooth fruit?
Yes, because it was smooth.
Yeah, so we don't find this out until she's fighting Nami, like what her power is. But she does it to Sanji and tosses him out of the room. And Nami is there, and she's like, "What happened to you?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't do it." And then she looks up and she sees who he's fighting, and he's like,
she's like, "Okay,
were you fighting her?"
Weak.
And he's just like,
like everyone knew.
And she's just like, "Okay, I'll handle her. You just sit here and rest." So she goes up there, and then she starts fighting Khalifa. And that's when Chopper takes over for the fight with Kumadori, who is right now locked in a fridge.
Yeah.
And Franky is fighting Fukuro. It was kind of an even match. Franky did have the upper hand, I think, a little bit, though.
Yeah, because Franky's like savage.
He is.
He's like savagely strong. It's like insane.
I mean, they were doing a back and forth, like, I'll hit you, you hit me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whoever doesn't last.
It was almost like that game that people play, where it's like...
Oh, the punching game? It was that, basically. But they were hitting each other in the face incredibly hard. And Franky is kind of weak right now because he's low on cola. But his attacks still look like they hurt Kumadori.
Yeah.
And he's telling Chopper, "Look, I need cola.
ASAP.
Get me some cola out of that fridge." And Chopper thinks he's lying. He doesn't even want to listen to him because of what he did to Usopp. And then he sees that Franky's actually fighting this dude, like, for them. And he's like, "Wait, he's with us right now.
Okay.
I have to help him."
You need to do it for Robin.
He's like, "But this dude is in the fridge right now. How am I going to do this?" So he just kind of opens the fridge really fast and grabs something and closes it.
It was like ketchup, some other like juice.
Yeah, juice, tea, something else. And Franky's like, "Stop playing around!
I need cola!"
And he finally goes in there and grabs cola. He's like, "I guess it only works with cola?" But it's weird, because every time Franky puts in a new drink...
His hair change.
His personality changes too. But he gave him cola. Finally. Okay, so Franky's got his cola. And his power has just increased a lot. Because Fukuro was like, "What is a bunch of cola going to do?" You know?
Unfazed.
Your punches were still not really doing a whole lot. And he's like, "Oh, it's going to be a lot different now." And then he hits him. Like, he takes his hand off. Like the little skin on his hand off. And hits him, and he goes flying through the wall, nearly into the water. Chopper was like, "Whoa!" Like,
shocked.
Definitely shocked. That wasn't the end of Fukuro, though. He's tough. He's a tough little zipper head.
For as much beans as he spills, he needs to be...
Yeah, needs to be tough.
Yeah.
But after that point, it wasn't really much of a challenge for Franky, except that Fukuro was trying to, like, throw him in the water or something. Like, because it was kind of like the current was going to sweep him over a waterfall. But he's, like, holding on to Fukuro's leg, and he's trying to
hop away. He's like...
Yeah, the skywalk, trying to get up, and he's like, "We're too heavy." But he ends up using one of his other attacks to finish him off I think it was the vent.
Yeah.
It was the vent. Kuda vent. And finished him off. Then Chopper is fighting Kumadori. Started off as kind of a bland fight because Chopper's too busy going, oh my god!
Yeah.
Look at what you can do to your body! Do it again! You know?
Yeah.
And it was like, be serious, Chopper.
It's like, this is a fight.
Yeah. But they end up starting their fight, and Kumadori still has the upper hand. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, no, he's misleading.
Yeah, despite his mannerisms, his speech, and the way he acts, he was very strong.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like a kabuki actor warrior. Yeah.
Yeah?
Like the face makeup and the way he would dance around and stuff. But Chopper was using his rumble ball to kind of change his forms, you know, and to try to figure out his weakness, which he did end up doing and did hit him in that spot, but it still didn't finish him off. Again, these guys are tough. And Chopper was about to be killed. Throughout this fight, we're seeing flashbacks from Chopper about when he took too many rumble balls. 3. At this point, he's already taken 2. And basically, he doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, no.
When he takes the 3rd one. All he knows is that he wakes up and something horrible has happened. Last time he did it, he said, or the doctorine said that he like destroyed the town or something.
Yeah.
And he was very hesitant in taking the 3rd one because he didn't know what would happen.
Yeah, he didn't want to end up attacking
allies, like his friends. But he did it anyway because he kind of had to. He was going to die if he didn't.
Yeah.
And he transforms into this huge monster. Kumadori was still trying to fight with him.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't backing down. I'll give him that.
Yeah, no, he had a pair on him.
But Chopper basically smacked him all the way to the other side of the island.
Yeah.
No, he tossed him.
Oh, yeah, didn't he pick him?
He had already beaten him, and he just went and threw him.
Oh, didn't he go?
He was doing that to him inside, but when he stepped out and Franky was looking at him, Chopper just...
Oh, yeah, just threw him.
Threw him.
Like it was nothing.
Just a big sparkle in the background.
Team Rocket.
Yeah, exactly. And then everybody on their side of the island is like, where did he come from?
Oh, like...
And then he started attacking Franky. In this form, he doesn't have control over himself. He's just wild. Like,
yeah.
He attacks anything. So he attacked Franky. Although it didn't look like it hurt Franky that much. Franky was in the ground like...
Like, what are you doing?
Like, what the heck? Reindeer? Or was he calling him a reindeer or was he calling him a raccoon like everybody else?
I think he was calling him a raccoon.
He might have been calling him a raccoon like everybody else.
Everyone calls him a
raccoon. And he's climbing up the building. Like, barehanded. Just putting his fingers into the walls. And Nami is still fighting Khalifa, who's kind of smooth in her legs.
Yeah.
I mean, more than usual. And she's wondering what happened. Because she didn't actually really get a good look at what she did. This fight kind of dragged on, if you ask me.
Yeah. I don't think it needed to go on.
Yeah.
As long as it did.
They could have cut it in half, in my opinion.
It just...
There's only so much that Khalifa could do with her smooth fruit to make me go, what?
Yeah.
And Nami has lightning powers.
And rain.
And they're in a room filled with water.
So...
She should have beaten her easily. And she kind of did, although it was really cool seeing her mirage technique.
Yeah, with all the different Namis.
Yeah.
All the little ones.
Little ones, big ones, skinny ones, fat ones.
It's like,
And then it's like, which one's the real me? And it's not even the one that looks like her.
Yeah, no, it's the tiny one or the fat one.
Yeah, or any one of them. She could be whichever one she wants because she can make herself look like whichever one.
That was pretty cool. I didn't know she was even able to
do that. When it comes to weather control and stuff like that, Nami is pretty impressive.
She's pretty top notch.
Yeah. So Usopp gave her basically the perfect weapon. Although I think she did say she made some tweaks to it.
Yeah.
Too many party tricks in that weapon.
No time for a party.
Yeah, no time for a party. Needs to be... It's fight time. Chopper ends up making it into that room. And Khalifa actually thought it was Nami.
She was like, what?
It was funny because after Chopper left and Nami is still there, she's like, just for the record, I did not think that was you. And Nami's like, yeah, whatever.
Like the embarrassment.
And just ignored her. And she's like, is she ignoring me? She ignored her twice, and she didn't like that. She didn't like being ignored. But then Nami finished her off with a lightning spear type thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty impressive. And she beat her. So they got her key. And then her and Franky end up having a conversation because she figured out that it was Chopper. Franky wasn't quite 100% sure.
The hat. I mean, it seemed pretty...
Yeah, the hat gave it away because he still had his hat on. And they came up with a plan to help him because Chopper's not doing so well. This form kind of drains his energy really quickly, and he is just like getting weaker and breathing heavy. And
yeah, he was getting super, super pale, right?
Yeah, he was like dying, pretty much. If he would have kept going like that, he probably would have just died.
Yeah. Or
at least passed out. Which is probably how they stopped him last time. He probably just passed out.
Probably just went to sleep like...
Yeah. He ends up in the room with Jabra and Kaku, with Zoro and Sogeking, who are handcuffed together, thanks to Sogeking.
Because Sogeking's apparently a genius.
I mean, he brought them to try to handcuff the other two, but ended up handcuffing him and Zoro together.
I don't know how he did that.
He got scared. I remember that. He got scared, and the next thing you know, they're handcuffed together, and Zoro's trying to use them as a weapon. Another section that kind of dragged on a little long.
Yeah, that fight could have gotten cut a lot short. There was a lot of unnecessariness.
Yeah, not even the fight, just the whole them running around together and Kaku and Jabra chasing them,
or them arguing.
Yeah, or them arguing. It just
dragged.
But once they actually got to the fight, where Zoro was actually fighting Kaku,
yeah,
that was a good fight. When Sanji fought Jabra, that was a good fight. Usopp, Sogeking. Sanji basically made him feel better by telling him, look, there are certain things that all of us can do. And yours is something very specific right now. You have to go and do it. He knew what he was talking about. Because Sanji had to deal with Jabra. Again, Sogeking was not going to fight any of these people.
No.
There was no way he was beating any of them.
No chance.
No. Maybe Khalifa. If he was at a distance. And he used some, because she's not technically a liquid. She just gives off bubbles. So, maybe he could have beat her.
Maybe.
He did beat a fish man, so.
Maybe.
But even then, I'm kind of just giving him a little too much credit, I think. But he might have been able to beat her.
Maybe. Like a low maybe for me.
But he goes off to do what he needs to go do, and Sanji fights Jabra. Where Jabra is a trickster. He likes to try to make you think that he's just going to give up, give you the key, that he's lazy, that he doesn't care about the fight.
He's just sleeping.
He even tried to pull off a story about him and Robin being brother and sister that were separated. And in the story, he's still a wolf.
I was like, what?
And he thought Sanji bought that?
silly.
Like, he threw his key on the ground and said, take it, and then went into that story, and Sanji's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go and free her, and then he's trying to attack him, and Sanji already knew and kicked him in the face.
Like, that was so obvious.
And then he took his key and ran off, because, I mean, he only wanted the key. He didn't need to actually defeat him. But Jabra wouldn't leave it alone. And that's when we see Sanji had a new technique. He spun really fast, heating up his leg.
Yeah, it was like hot.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher the name, but it's like Diablo Jambe or something like that is what it's called. And it just gives off an intense amount of heat. Like, his leg is not hurt, like, burning, but
you could see the
heat coming off of it. And anything it touches, like, even though Jabra was using Iron Body, it was still burning him.
Oh, yeah.
Intensely. Like, in the insides and everything. He got hit twice. Once in the gut and once in the face.
I would not want it in the face.
And that's when Sanji finished him off. He finished him off with that kick to the face.
Yeah, see, that's why I wouldn't want it to the face.
Yeah.
To the tummy.
That
would be whack, but...
Let's see. At this point, Luffy has already made it to Lucci.
Yeah, they're already fighting.
And Franky is running down there to try to get to Robin. In fact, he did and ended up interfering with Luffy and Lucci's fight. I remember you getting really angry at Franky.
Because he wouldn't leave!
He kept trying to fight Lucci and help Luffy.
If he's saying, just go get Robin. Go get Robin. Let him have his fight.
It wasn't that easy, though.
Yeah.
Every time he did try to leave, like when he actually listened and tried to leave, Lucci kept getting in the way.
Because Luffy was also super strong, but overall, like, just go. Go!
And he does eventually make it past them.
Yeah.
After Luffy starts using Gear Second. Which was overpowering Lucci in his normal, like, human form. Mm-hmm. When he went into his half leopard form, they were pretty evenly matched. I think Lucci still kind of had the upper hand. Let's see, Zoro finished off Kaku. They had a pretty good fight, although, again, it still kind of dragged a little much in some spots. But the jokes with him and the giraffe were pretty funny. I love giraffes. Everybody kept, like, Jabra kept making fun of him, and he just kept saying, I love giraffes.
What's there on the wrong with giraffes?
And every time he would mess up a technique, he'd just come up with a different name for it. Like, he meant to do it.
Yep.
And it just... It was a funny fight, but still a pretty awesome fight. Zoro ended up using a new technique. They all had new techniques.
Yeah, everyone showed, like, new moves. But then we never see their new moves.
Until they use it, and they say, I'm going to use my new technique.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, when have you even been practicing this technique? I haven't seen you guys practice it.
I know there was something, I think it was a SBS, where Oda said that they do train, but he doesn't like doing scenes with them training because he finds that kind of boring. So he just kind of skips over it.
Oh, okay.
The only one you kind of see train is Zoro, and that's when he's like lifting his weights. That's about it. So yeah, he ends up using a technique called Asura, which made 3 extra heads and like 4 or 6 more arms. Like that, he didn't actually grow the arms. They were like, I guess you'd call like a manifestation of his willpower or something coming through. But he did use it to defeat Kaku, who Zoro then told that he was fired.
Fired.
Polly had given him the message to tell them that they're fired.
Let them know.
And Kaku actually said he was actually kind of sad about that, because he did kind of enjoy that job. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You turned your back on them. You tried to kill Iceberg.
Tried to do too much damage.
Yeah.
There's really no going back from that.
Getting tired?
A little bit. Why? Could you tell?
Yeah, I could tell.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, let me see. We don't have too much more. Luffy and Lucci's fight lasted a long time.
I feel like they had the longest fight, and I feel like their fight was the only fight that was justifiable to be as long as it was.
Yeah, considering how strong Lucci was, and
it was just like what Luffy had to do to overcome like Lucci. Like we knew from the get-go, he was gonna be the most difficult one to defeat. I knew they would like defeat him, but I just didn't know how
it would go down.
How it would go down, but
very satisfying fight.
I would say it's one of the most enjoyable fights I've seen so far.
Considering everything he had to go through, like you said. That and he almost lost.
Yeah.
And Usopp had to pull him back up. Not Soge King.
Usopp.
He had the mask off and was yelling at Luffy.
Oh, that was like...
even challenging Lucci himself.
Yeah. And Lucci was all for it.
He was like, they're going to die anyway. I might as well...
just do it quick.
Yeah. Which got Luffy back on his feet.
Yeah, no, you don't mess with his...
No.
It's his friends.
And he told him, until I defeat you, I'm not falling down again. And he stuck by that.
Yeah.
Very intense moment when they started fighting again.
It was. I was like, oh my god. You're not even in this place right now to be fighting anymore.
And...
because he couldn't, like, move or nothing.
Yeah, he was pretty much done.
He, like, gave all of his energy, everything.
And he got hit with that one technique where he was like this.
Oh, yeah.
And he hit him with like that, was like a shockwave almost that went through Luffy.
Yep.
Which is why it would really hurt him, because it's not something that would activate like the rubber powers. It just goes straight through.
Yeah.
Attacking like his internal organs, which are also rubber, but still.
The fact that he felt it, so...
that looked like it was going to be over because he started falling down again.
Yeah, he was like...
but kept himself up and started having the flashbacks. Once the main character starts having flashbacks during a fight...
it's all business. You're like, oh snap. You need the Rocky music in the back.
Yeah. Everything from Aokiji telling them that they're going to have a hard time with Robin, all the way up till Robin saying she wanted to live.
Yeah, that little scene, that's all I would have needed.
And that was the last scene they showed before Luffy started hitting him with the jet gatling. And did you see how many hits?
Oh my god.
Like when they was in slow-mo, how many fists were...
everywhere. It was like literally every part of his body was a fist.
And that's me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was just intense.
Insane.
And he's got him up against the wall. I believe if Lucci did not try to use Iron Body, he could have still won. If he would have dodged instead, like used Shave and attacked Luffy, he probably could have still won.
Yeah, because I don't know how much more Luffy could have
took. He
was done.
Luffy basically got lucky with Lucci saying, using Iron Body instead of Shave or something.
Yes, something else to let him get away.
Yeah, giving him the opportunity to land those punches and overpower the Iron Body technique. Since Lucci was also pretty worn out,
yeah,
his technique wasn't as strong as it was when the battle first started. And he just got destroyed.
It was like brutal.
And I also liked, you know what we skipped?
Robin.
Not just Robin, but Spandam hitting the button
That's
for
right.
the Buster Call.
Buster Call. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I should point out that Spandam likes to hit Robin a lot.
Ooh.
And the only reason he can get away with it is because she's got those handcuffs on.
Yep. Oh, that's why I was glad when she, like, slapped the bejeebus out of him.
Yeah.
I was like, get it. Get it, Robin. Get it.
Dude's tough against people that he knows he can beat. Like Robin without handcuffs, he can't beat.
He's the bully.
And then as he's yelling at her and he's trying to talk to people on the Denden Mushi, he pulls out the Buster Call thing and presses the button. Like, why is nobody talking?
Why doesn't he look at what he's doing?
And then he was like angry at himself, like, what did I just do? And then Robin brings up, call it off. And he's like, this is perfect. Like, now he's changed his mind, like it's what he actually wanted to do. But it wasn't. So the Buster Call is there. They're attacking everybody. Franky did make it to Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And started attacking, like, the Marines and Spandam. And, he did get hit by a trap that Spandam set, though.
Cool.
Remember, he set that trap on the stairs that Franky got
the
bomb?
Yeah.
And he landed in the water, but then got up. Sogeking was shooting him with his weapon from very far away.
Sniping.
Which is what Sanji was talking about. Things only you can do. And that is one of them. None of them would be able to do that.
Yeah, no.
And then Franky gets back on the platform just in time to save Robin from getting shot. And then he gets the handcuffs off because he had the key. Yes. And then that's when she unleashes her...
Smacks.
Yes, on Spandam's face.
Smack.
And his face gets super swollen.
Well, he was just like such a nasty person.
Yeah. Not... Oh my god.
Not cool.
This guy, I think, is universally hated
in
this fandom. In One Piece, I think just about everybody hates this guy.
I don't know how anyone can like him.
I don't know either. I'm pretty sure there is somebody out there who does, though.
Yeah, there's always that one person.
Who's like, I liked Spandam.
If you do, why?
Yeah, if you do, why? Why do you like Spandam?
Why?
And don't just give me, he was a good villain.
That doesn't count.
Because, he was a good villain, but I still hate his guts.
Yeah. He can be a good villain, but why do you like him?
Yeah. Why do you like him? And Buster Call is shown up. They're blowing everything up. After they get Robin, the rest of the crew, which was almost drowned, Lucci decided that it would be a good time to flood the lower floors.
Yeah.
And as everybody's going down there, the waters start coming. If it wasn't for Kokoro,
who's a mermaid,
they all would be dead. A lot of really, really good coincidences, I guess, or something.
Yeah, like what are the odds of her being a mermaid?
Yeah. Ruining Sanji's like fantasy about mermaids.
That all mermaids are like beautiful and stuff, and I'm like,
Then they show Kokoro and we're like, put a shirt on. I know that's mean to say, but
she had her shirt off for the longest.
She did.
I was like, okay, you get a year in the water, maybe a couple minutes after that, but she had it off for like
the whole last part of that.
I was like, dude, put it on. No one wants to see all that.
Put on the shirt.
No one wants to see all your bits. I don't.
So she saves them, ruining Sanji's fantasy of mermaids for life, or for now.
Yeah.
And for the fight with most of the fight with the Marines, Sanji's missing.
Yeah. He's always missing.
He's I think I mentioned this before. He's always like the behind the scenes guy.
You said that while we were watching it.
He's always the guy that's like, there is something that we need to do that nobody else is thinking of.
He always does. He always goes and gets that stuff done. that like saves him in the end.
Yeah.
Like if he wouldn't do it, it would be like
Yeah.
over.
In this case, he opened the gates of justice. No, he closed them.
Yeah.
Because they were open already. He closed them. We'll get to why that's important later. But Luffy finished off Lucci, and the Marines actually announced it.
Yeah.
That Lucci was defeated by Straw Hat Luffy.
Because it was a moment.
And all the Straw Hats are cheering. Everybody that was with them was cheering.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Luffy can't move. Like...
He's like almost paralyzed?
Yeah, Usopp was even yelling at him, look, we're almost there, get over here so we can get away. And he's like, I can't.
Yeah, he literally couldn't move.
He was trying like everything he could, but his body would not listen. He had used up so much energy and
he was just like, I need to sleep.
Strength that he just could not move at all. And Zoro ends up losing a sword.
Yeah, it gets rusted.
Yeah, he fights a dude with the rust fruit, which destroys the sword that shop owner gave him.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it, but he destroyed that sword. He's pretty upset about that. Like, he's constantly looking at it. Remembering when they would eat dinner together. And, no.
All the moments we had.
Yeah. Usopp actually saved him. Because he was getting his arm rusted. And Usopp shot the guy with one of his, I think the Firebird star. And saved Zoro.
Which is like...
yeah. See, you're useful, Usopp.
Yeah, when you actually like aren't scared hiding behind something.
Yeah, and I think he realized that's not the time to be hiding. This is the time to be fighting.
It's like, we need you.
And he stepped up.
He did. I was really surprised that he stepped up to the plate like he did.
Dang, I get a lot of messages. Anyway, then Usopp starts hearing something, and he's just like in the middle of the fight, just like,
what is that?
Yeah, like what is that? And Zoro's like telling him, you know, focus. We got a fight going on, and he's like, no, I hear something, and he's like, that's just the Marines or whatever, the battle, and he goes, no, it's something else. And he looks over the edge and he starts telling everybody, we have one more friend. Everybody jump over the edge. And he asks Robin, can you get Luffy and
bring him over?
And she's like, yeah, I could do it. So she uses her ability to get like a bunch of hands and just starts rolling him over.
Like,
and he's just like, whoa.
Just like, oh.
I would have been dizzy afterwards.
My tummy would have been upset.
At this point, everybody is hearing it. Because everybody is like, what is that?
Yeah.
And Usopp's the only one telling him, look, jump over the edge.
Trust me.
And they jump. And they show that the Mary actually came and got them. I can already tell you're getting emotional.
I am.
I remember watching a reaction where somebody actually thought it was Laboon. Because it sounded like a whale.
Oh.
So they thought it was Laboon. But it was Mary. Mary came to save them. And nobody, I don't know how anybody missed it. They're not paying attention, so, like the Marines, like, oh, they didn't see this little ship.
Yeah, coming in?
Making its way into the area. But I guess when they're so focused on just killing them,
yeah,
you'll miss a lot. And they start steering the ship to get away. And this is where what Sanji did
comes
into play. Because, again, he closed the gates of justice. And when the gates are open, it gets rid of all of the whirlpools and currents that are in the area. But when it starts closing, it starts bringing them back. So it's like making it more difficult for the battleships to shoot the Mary.
Yeah, because they're all like...
And Nami, being the great navigator she is, knows how to work the currents to get them out of the way and where they need to go. So they end up getting away, getting on the other side of the gates of justice before
it
closes. And they get away.
They escape.
And they're on the ship, and they're like, who brought the ship here? Because there was nobody on the ship.
It was empty.
Like, Sanji got on there, and he's like trying to thank whoever was there, but nobody was there. And they looked everywhere. And they couldn't find anyone.
No, the ship was empty.
And Luffy, I remember, was like really happy. Like, I knew it was the Mary and all this and that. Like, I heard her talking. And he's like, right, Mary? And nothing. Wasn't talking anymore. But they end up celebrating afterwards. You know, they finally got away. They won.
Yeah.
They can officially say that they won. Because they got away from the Marines. And the Buster Call. Defeating CP9, getting Robin back. Now all they had to do was get to an island. However, they get... I don't know how far they get, but they run into Iceberg and a huge Galley-La ship. With practically the entire island of Water 7 on it.
Yeah. Like, they all went with them.
And he's, like, surprised. Because he was actually the one that fixed Mary. Because he heard her talking. I know I keep saying her, and in the show they say him.
I think of her as a her.
I think of it as a her. Heard Mary talking, saying that she wanted to sail one last time. So he went over and started repairing the ship, wondering to himself, why am I even doing this?
Yeah, but the ship was already done.
But he does it, and then as he's leaving, the ship says, thank you.
And then just...
And then the current brings it into the water, and it just starts going.
Which is so like, what?
Yeah. And then not long after that moment is when Mary split in half. And Luffy is practically begging Iceberg to fix Mary. That she came all this way to save them. That she's an important Nakama of theirs. And he's like, I've already done everything that I could. There's not much else I can do. And that's when Luffy says, okay, guess we'll have to say goodbye here. And they get their stuff. They get on a little ship. And Luffy has a torch. And he's up at the Mary, and he's like, it's really dark down there and lonely. So we'll stay here until you're gone. And then he sets her on fire. And then they start throwing in flashbacks.
Then they give you Mary talking.
Yeah. Well, the flashbacks... Oh, God. They have music playing. Like an actual song. And it's showing all of the crew, like, with memorable moments from them on the Mary.
Happy times.
It's snowing. And at that point, I would have been fine. Like, it was sad. But I would have been okay. And then, like, 10, 12 seconds later, she starts talking.
Yep.
And apologizing for not being able to carry them any further. And Luffy is just... Everybody is devastated. Like, Usopp is... Like, tears are just streaming over his coat. Nami is like bawling. I think the only ones who weren't crying were Zoro and Sanji, I think. Even Franky was crying.
Franky was bawling.
And Luffy is telling Mary, if anybody needs to apologize, it's us. I ran you into icebergs. Sanji and Zoro are idiots, so they kept breaking things. And Usopp, he kept trying to fix them, but
he's not very good at it.
He's not good at it. So if anyone needs to apologize, it's us. And she's like, but I was happy. Thank you, for the, I guess, a good life. And then she just burns up and goes down into the ocean.
Yep. My hands are sweaty.
It's, in my opinion, and this even counts for later scenes, for me, this is the saddest moment in One Piece. And like I said after the episode, this is the scene that made One Piece my all-time favorite. Because if this series can make me cry the way I cried in that episode for a ship, then it deserves
a good
the
spot.
number one spot. And until another series can make me cry over like an inanimate object, nothing is taking One Piece's spot.
Yeah, One Piece right now has been like the best.
And I know I say inanimate object, but Mary did have a soul.
But she was a ship.
Yeah. You don't expect to go into a series and cry for a ship.
That just wasn't on my to-do list.
Even people who watched the Titanic didn't cry for the ship. They cried for the people that were dying on the ship.
Yep. I cried for this ship.
Yeah, and this one you cry for the ship. She was, she's been with us since episode like 20-something.
Yeah. She was pretty much a part of the
crew.
The crew, so...
How could you not cry for Mary? And I know there are people out there who are like, I didn't cry.
Well, you have no soul.
Must be a ginger. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, that was the hardest I'd ever cried for Mary.
Yeah?
I think mainly because we had just got through all of that. Like, all of the emotion that had built up from Robin's backstory and the fights with CP9 and Luffy's pulling through to fight Lucci.
To this.
To that. Everything just came out.
It just all, like, piled up.
But every time I watch that, I cry. Even if it's a little bit. Like, tears just kind of coming down, but not bawling. Tears just coming down. I'll cry. No matter what. And sometimes I watch it on purpose.
Just to cry?
Sometimes I'm in the mood where I'm like, I feel like watching something sad. So I'll put that on. And I'm like, okay, I'm done for the month as far as crying.
I'm done for the year.
So yeah, it was a very emotional time. And then we took like a 4-week break. Or was it a 3-week break? It was a long break.
Yeah, it was a needed. Well needed.
We had really only planned on 1 week.
Yeah.
But then things happened and we ended up taking a longer break. But after that, I think they said Luffy was asleep for 3 or so days.
3 days.
3 days, but he was still technically asleep when we saw him.
He was just eating.
Yeah, he was. He was sleep eating. He had taught himself how to eat while he was asleep.
I need that skill. That was one thing I saw and I was like, I want that.
I want that. I need that.
Can I get that in a devil fruit?
That way I can just sleep and eat at the same time and not have to get up.
I wonder if he's like picky when you're sleep eating.
I don't think so. It didn't look like it. I think he'll eat pretty much anything. As long as it's not alive. And then we're introduced to his grandfather, who ended up being a Marine Vice Admiral.
Who would have guessed?
One that we've seen before.
Who would have guessed?
Vice Admiral Garp. The guy that wears the dog hat and fell asleep when they were trying to get Morgan on the ship and got axed. and then woke up like nothing happened.
Just like, what? Okay.
Like the dude got hit with an axe and he's bleeding everywhere, and then he just gets up. Oh, did I fall asleep again?
Like everything's fine. Like just a casual Saturday.
And he didn't come alone. He brought Kobe and Helmeppo with him.
I did not recognize them.
It had been a while since we'd seen Kobe.
They're growing up. A lot of times it feels like it's passed.
Yeah, puberty really hit him.
Yeah.
Like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, no. That's why I made it.
He is not the little chubby,
quiet,
like kind of peanut-shaped
nerdy
head guy.
Yeah, no.
He's got a round head now, and he's thinned out. He's tall.
Yeah.
He knows shave. I'm pretty sure he's going to know all the other techniques, too, by the time Garp is done with him. Helmeppo uses these weird-looking swords. They, like, kind of thick at the top, and, like, they're a little thinner, thick, then gets thinner. Zoro called them a certain thing, like a certain name.
Yeah.
And said that you don't see these too often. I don't know the name of them, but they made short work of them.
They got whooped pretty fast because they challenged.
They challenged Zoro and Luffy, but I mean they knew them. Although they didn't remember Helmeppo at the beginning. It wasn't until he brought up
his bull,
his dad and stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
it's you."
You. Kobe, on the other hand, they remembered right away after he talked and brought up who he was, and like this and that, and he's like, "Kobe,
I know you."
Yeah, and then they started talking. Oh God, Garp, he destroyed a wall to punch Luffy in the head.
Yeah. So
scaring
him from his sleep.
Yeah, hurting him too. He's all like, "That hurt." And Sanji's like, "How did that hurt? Your rubber." And then he sees him and he's all, "Grandpa."
They're like, "What?"
And then they made him fix the wall, like the rest of the Marines. He was like, "Okay, everybody, fix the wall." And they're like, "What? You did it? You should help us." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he's like, "Oh, Luffy, I heard you met your dad in Logtown."
Dun dun dun.
And he's like, "I have a dad?"
He's like, "Just forget I said."
That came after when he explained who he was. Yeah. He was bringing up, "Oh yeah, he's most dangerous man, or most wanted man, dangerous man in the world, the revolutionary."
Gave the whole rundown.
Monkey D. Dragon.
Monkey D. Dragon.
Who looks nothing like Luffy. Luffy does not look like him at all. Somebody in the comments said he believes that Luffy looks more like his mother.
Have we seen his mother?
No.
Okay, I was like...
But he better. He doesn't look like his dad. He's got to look like one of his parents at least.
At least a little bit.
Yeah. I do think Luffy gets that intense look like Dragon, though. When he's serious.
Like serious?
Yeah.
Like when he means like actual business?
Yeah, he gets that look in his eye. But then after that, Garp was like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have mentioned any of that." Just forget what I just said.
Forget it.
Because they were all looking at him like, "Are you serious?" And everybody else is like shocked. Luffy had no idea who the guy was.
He's like, "What?"
Like, why is everybody surprised by this? And it was Robin who explained who he was. And I don't even think Luffy really got the full extent of, like, the situation.
I don't think he did. He was just like, "Oh."
And then his grandpa's like, "Oh, just forget all that. I shouldn't have mentioned any of that." As he's hammering away at a wall.
That he destroyed. I was like...
And he tells them, you know, you guys can go ahead and leave. I'm not going to capture you. I just came here to see Luffy, see how he was doing, let these two, like, catch up with him. So they got like an hour to let them do what they're going to do. They talk and then they leave. While Luffy was asleep, though, Franky came to see them. and basically told them, you know,
I will make you a ship.
yeah. He's all, I stole some of your money. I can't give it back because I already spent it.
Darn gone.
However, what I spent it on was this special wood that was used to build Gold Roger's pirate ship. I want to build you guys a new ship using this wood. Will you let me do that? And they're like, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you make us a ship.
Go for it.
He's like, all right, then I'll get started and I'll come back when it's done.
When it's ready.
So he leaves, and him and Iceberg are actually working on it together, which I think
Shocking.
is a first. Like, other than the sea train, I don't think they've really ever worked on anything together. Like, Franky was always off making his weapons, while Iceberg helped Tom out. And then after that, they thought Franky was dead, and then he just became like a demolitionist.
Yeah.
While Iceberg started the Galley-La Company. So this is like the first time
They've worked together
since the sea train. And according to Franky's like right hand man, it's like the most fun he's ever seen Franky have.
which is scary.
Yeah. Building a ship. He's all, we're supposed to be demolitionists, but you're like having a ball building the ship. So much so that he actually goes to the Straw Hats and asks them to take Franky with him. Because, one, all the new bounties came out. And everybody on the crew has one. Including Franky, who was, what, 42 mil?
Yeah.
42 million. Which is a pretty good chunk. That's higher than Luffy's when he got his first bounty. Luffy's was 30. Franky went to 42.
Well, at least they were all better than Chopper's.
Yeah, Chopper's was 50.
50 berries.
For cotton candy lover Chopper. I am very positive the only reason it's 50 is because they believe he's their pet.
Yeah.
Like, I think they constantly call him their pet. So they're not going to give the pet a high bounty. Although if they actually saw him in action,
they would be like, oh yeah, we need that.
Yeah. I think Nami's was 16? 18 or 16?
Somewhere around.
Zoro's went up to 120. Luffy's, I think, was 300, actually. 300. That was after this bounty. Robin's went up 1 million. From 79 to 80. Sanji
got the weirdest photo.
Was his... What was his? 70 something?
I think it was like 70 berries.
70 million? He didn't even have a photo. They had a drawing of him. And it wasn't even a very good drawing. It kind of looked like him with the eyebrow, but...
It did not look like him at all.
Well, the eyebrow. But other than that, yeah, does not really look like him. And he's having a hard time accepting that that's his picture. He's just looking at it like, who is this?
He's like, what?
Yeah, and Franky got his bounty. And then they're like, the government and the bounty hunters are going to be after him from now on. So we want you to take him with you.
Do we know he's safe?
And Luffy had already decided that he wanted Franky on his crew. Which is surprising considering what he did to Usopp. But I guess after everything he did to help them,
yeah,
he realized that Franky's not a bad guy. It's just that he was kind of hiding out.
Yeah.
And now that he's building them a ship, it kind of makes sense to have the shipbuilder on there to make sure it's okay every time something happens. Which actually was part of Franky's dream when they got into that.
Yeah.
Because his dream was because he had started making those blueprints when he was younger, because Tom was looking at them, and he was like, my dream is to make a great ship that's going to travel the whole world and then I'm going to be on that ship
so I can see it.
So I could see it. And he was only going to get half of it if he didn't actually leave with them, and he wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, he was like, I'm out.
He was doing everything he could not to until they stole his Speedos. And he's running around with his hairy butt hanging out.
Just
along
running.
with everything else, just flapping in the wind.
Just running, just like throughout the whole town.
Everybody calling him a pervert. And
Pervert!
it's like, don't look! Just turn away.
The kids.
And he ends up getting dragged over to where the ship is, and Luffy and them love the ship.
Yeah, it's
a cool looking ship.
It's amazing.
The Thousand Sunny. And Luffy's telling him, you want your Speedos back, you're going to have to join my crew. And he still wasn't going to do it. Robin, however, was a little more persuasive in grabbing and squeezing certain parts of his body.
She grabbed the boys.
Yeah. And Luffy's telling her, look, I want him to be a man when he gets on my ship, okay? Can you let go?
He was like, please.
And I think she squeezed maybe twice.
She said that she only squeezed once, and after that...
After that, he was acting. He was using it as an excuse to come up with a reason to leave.
To cry.
Yeah, and go with them. And then he finally agreed, okay.
I'll go.
I'll be your shipwright. And he goes with them. Also, Garp decided to capture them.
Yep.
Not by choice. Fleet Admiral Sengoku ordered him to capture Straw Hat and his crew. So he kind of had to.
He had no choice. He was like, man, alright.
And he is just launching cannonballs at them.
Yeah, not even in, like, anything, just...
And Sanji even made the comment, these are coming at us harder than normal cannon fire. Like, he's a strong old man. But, I mean...
He's Luffy's grandpa.
He's Luffy's grandpa. So, it makes sense. And they're just trying to get away. Usopp, meanwhile, is, like, trying to come up with a way to weasel his way back into the crew. Yeah. I say that because he's not trying to apologize.
Yeah, no, he's trying to basically say, like, make it seem like they're about to beg him.
Yeah, to come back. It's like, they actually showed a flashback for this, because Sanji had told them that he saw Usopp, like, practicing how he would come back. Yeah. And Luffy was like, well, let's go and get him. And Zoro stopped him.
Yep.
Rightfully. And actually made really good points about this. That he caused a whole mess of problems for them.
Yeah.
By doing what he did. If they just let him come back without apologizing, how could they respect Luffy as a captain? Like, you basically do whatever you want, and Luffy's just going to forgive you no matter what. Gotta have some kind of boundaries, yeah. And he even tells them, if you let him back on this crew without apologizing, I'm going to be the next one to leave. And Luffy was like, you're right. I can't just let him back. And he's seeing them leave. He's like, what the heck, you're leaving without me?
Yeah.
And he runs over to the shore and he's yelling at them. Look, I'm back,
I'm here.
Trying to do his normal,
Normal thing,
and it's not working. And then it looked like he was just going to start yelling at them, like being angry at them for just leaving without him. But then he finally gave in and just started apologizing for what he did. Like, crying.
Yeah.
On his knees, apologizing.
Begging.
And that's when Luffy threw out a hand and grabbed him.
Oh my god, he was sobbing too.
And pulled him in. And then Usopp acted like nothing happened. Like, as soon as, even when they were getting attacked by the Garp, He's making jokes like he would if he never left.
Yeah. He's like, we're all back to normal.
And Zoro, I think, made the comment, "You just got back like a minute ago." But they end up getting away because Franky had installed this burst ability for the ship, where he uses cola again.
Because Coca-Cola.
And it like makes this huge, kind of like a burst, kind of like his coup de vent.
Oh.
But from the back of the ship, making it fly off. I'm not making sure Yeah, I was making sure I wasn't high enough to do that, but you just went for it.
I did. I didn't even think about it until I looked up. I'm like, oh.
And then you were like, oh, curve the hand.
Curve the hand.
And they end up getting away because Garp had thrown a huge ball, remember?
Yeah, that like...
It was like bigger than the ship.
It was like... I was like, Jesus.
And Usopp was like, we're gonna die!
I just got back!
So they end up getting away. And Garp is not angry about it. He wanted to let him go anyway.
Yeah.
And they're super happy because they got their ship right. I believe the next destination they had to go to that the log post said was, according to Kokoro, Fishman Island, which is actually underwater.
I'm excited.
And they were kind of confused. Like, how are we supposed to get to this place?
Well, you went to the sky, so you'll figure it out.
So, yeah, that's their next destination. Well, according to the log post. Then we cut away from them. And we go to a different island. Where we see the Marines. Because they're discussing Shanks having fought with Kaido and destroying the fleet that they had sent to stop Shanks. No, wait. I'm confusing myself. Shanks destroyed a fleet of the Marines because they didn't want him to meet with Whitebeard. Remember, he met with Whitebeard.
Yeah.
And he was basically just there to tell him, look, don't let Ace meet with Blackbeard because it's not going to end well. Because he even pointed out the scar on his face. He's like, I didn't get this from some Marine or something. I got this from one of your guys. And that was Blackbeard. So you need to call Ace back. Whitebeard wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
He was like, no.
Okay.
He broke the ultimate rule on a ship by killing one of his crewmates.
Yeah.
So Ace is going to bring him back, and we're going to handle him ourselves. You know. Or I think Ace was just supposed to kill him.
Yeah. I think just kill him.
Then we cut to Ace and Blackbeard. Because Blackbeard is on an island, and everybody on that island is scared.
It was crazy.
And they're looking at the new bounties, and they're looking at Luffy's new bounty. Because remember, his plan was to get Luffy.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, well, let's go and find him, because now that his bounty is even higher, much better. Unfortunately for him, Ace was on the same island. And calls out to him, and they look over, and he's like, Ace! What are you doing here?
What's up? How's life?
And then he's telling him, look, I got a good plan to, get big in the pirate, community or whatever. But it starts with me capturing Straw Hat Luffy. And because he's asking him to, just join my crew. He's telling Ace to join his crew. And he's like, we're going to capture Straw Hat Luffy. And Ace is like, Luffy? And he's like, you know him? He's like, he's my brother.
So yeah, I think I know him.
It's like, just another reason not to let you leave. And I'm pretty sure at that point, Blackbeard's just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, nothing is going right.
He's like,
right
just
now. Just my luck. And Ace ends up hitting him with some technique. And it burns him. But doesn't really
do much
damage him.
It hurts,
like,
but...
Yeah, like the others were putting him out because he was burning. As you can see the flames on him. And the others put him out, but after that he was like fine. Like nothing happened. And Blackbeard starts explaining, you know, the reason I killed that guy is because he got the devil fruit that I wanted. He's like, I had looked through that. They've said it multiple times before that there's a book that shows all of the devil fruits. And he had studied all of them and knew exactly which one he was looking for. However, the rule on the ship, and the fleet, I should say, for Whitebeard, was whoever finds the fruit gets to eat it. And this guy found the fruit Blackbeard wanted. So he killed him and took it. And then left. He said the reason he joined Whitebeard's crew in the first place was because he thought it'd be have a better chance of finding it if he was with him.
And he did.
And he did.
So he wasn't wrong.
Just happened to be somebody else's fruit.
Yeah.
So he killed him, took the fruit, and then left and started his own crew. And that fruit is the dark fruit. Basically, he's a darkness man.
Darkness.
And according to him, darkness sucks in everything.
Well, it did.
It did.
It did.
And he starts showing off its power. He like spreads out a ton of darkness along the ground.
Yeah, like long enough to cover the whole
island, pretty much, or that whole town.
Whole town.
And then he starts sucking it in with a move called Black Hole. Brings in everything, like every building, everything in the town was sucked into this thing.
Yeah.
And then he just releases it all.
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
Pretty intense. And then he's telling him that he was like the ultimate Logia type. And then Ace, not even really caring, just attacks him.
I love Ace. He's just like, alright, enough of that.
Just attacks him. And he's like, I don't really get it. You say you're a Logia type, but that hurts you. How are you a Logia? And he's like, you don't understand. He's all, this ability is not like all the others. He's all, I take in everything. Even pain. Like, all of it. He's all, and there's something else that I take in. And he like uses, what is it, Vortex is what he uses, where he pulls Ace into him.
To grab him?
Grabs his arm. Which shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to grab a Logia type. Especially when made of fire. Which surprised Ace. He's just kind of looking.
Like, what?
And I think he hit him in the stomach, right? And made him fly into a building?
Yeah.
Probably the first time Ace has been hit in a while.
I think he even said that.
Yeah. So, first time feeling pain in a long time as well. And I guess when you don't get pain a lot...
It really hurts.
It really hurts. But they end up having a huge fight. I think he mentioned that Blackbeard almost broke his neck with one hit.
Yeah.
Blackbeard is strong.
Yeah.
Like he's not really using his ability. He's just kind of hitting Ace.
Yeah, he just wants to, like, I think more or less show him.
Yeah.
What he has to
and
offer.
With just these regular hits, I mean, I know Ace is normal when he's touching him. But still, you shouldn't almost break somebody's neck with a punch.
Yeah, that's a bit insane.
And they're just wrecking this whole place with their fight.
Yeah, the whole town's gone. It's all everywhere. They're all worried about the island.
Yeah. And I remember one of Blackbeard's men, the guy that had the sharpshooter for his group that has that little monocle thing, mentions that he always believed that Logia-type devil fruit users relied really heavily on their powers, and when they were taken from them, that they would basically be nothing. But seeing Ace fight made him realize that that's not always the case.
I know, there's some really good fighters, and Ace is...
One of them.
It's
like... Ace will take some punishment if he needs to. He hasn't in a while, because, you know...
No one's been able to.
Yeah. But he'll take some punishment. But it's not looking good for him in this fight.
No. And then they just cut a...
Yeah, they did... they both used one last technique. Ace called this huge, like, sunlight ability. And I don't know what Blackbeard used, but it was a huge thing of darkness.
Yeah, like, it was like light and dark.
And they shot it at each other, and it just hits and collides, and it's like taking up half of the island. And then they cut to Ace's hat. And then they cut away. The narrator did mention that this is an event that will shake the world later on.
Well, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
What's happening right there.
And, man, just seeing Ace take any kind of damage, especially after you see him in, like, Alabasta, where he's just wrecking people.
Yeah, like, everywhere. It's, like, such a drastic change, but it shows how strong
Blackbeard is. I mean, when Shanks is telling you, you need to bring him back.
That's when you know it's already, like, bad.
Because we also learn in this arc that Shanks is very powerful. Yeah. Has one of the 4 top pirate crews in the world. They're called the Yonko. So, 4 pirate crews. You know Whitebeard and you know Shanks. The other 2 we'll get introduced to later.
Oh, okay.
I may have accidentally gave the name to one of them during this. So, hopefully you just missed it. Or you just don't know who I'm talking about when I said it. But...
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, we learn that about Shanks, and that's before we see them meet up with Whitebeard. Who... You'll learn more about that thing he was doing, like how when he was walking on the ship, the ship was cracking apart. You'll learn more about that later on, too. Because that's an actual ability.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Shanks is not somebody you mess with.
You know, he's pretty scary strong.
For somebody who was just joking around on Luffy's island when he was a little kid, he means business when he's
serious.
When he needs to be, yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it's crazy. All these people are like so strong.
I think that pretty much covers all that. Thoughts on certain parts of this arc, the whole arc in general?
Whole arc in general, I think, like I said, I thought that the fight between Lucci and Luffy was the best fight so far up to date. Not just necessarily for the fight itself, but like the build up and why they were fighting and what they were fighting for. I really liked the story because I went from not liking someone, like I didn't like Franky at first.
Yeah, that's another thing about Franky. He was a jerk.
Yeah, like I didn't like Franky at all at the start of the arc. To now, I was so happy
when he joined
the crew. So I don't know. It was just really good. Like I love how they do things like that.
It's crazy how they can make you change like that about a certain character.
Yeah, like hate them because they're like awful and they're a jerk, and then they even beat up Usopp.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, Franky. Which is like, so bad. But
I mean, he went, like you said, he was beating up Usopp. His people were beating up Usopp. He stole their money and spent it.
Yeah.
How could you not hate the guy?
And then he just changed.
Yeah. Once you actually got to see him, like, get to know him, you realize he's not that bad of a guy. He might have done some bad things, but he's himself a decent guy when he gets to know you. Like, I'm sure if he would have known Usopp before, he wouldn't have done any of that. Beat him up. But he didn't, and he just needed the money to get that wood because he wanted to build his ship.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it's going to go to that it went to the Straw Hats.
Right, perfectly.
He's now a part of the crew for.
So, I would say I would rate like the overall arc. I would say 9.
A 9?
A 9.
If the other fights weren't so drawn out a little,
it'd be a 9.5.
Yeah, some of the fights were really drawn out.
Just some things were drawn out.
Unnecessary things were added in. I'm pretty sure that some of them were in the manga, but not all of it. Like as far as the drawn out.
Just some things I felt like you were like, oh my god, come on. You're waiting for like other fights to pick up while certain fights are happening, and I'm like, come on.
Like, get back to this fight.
Yeah, like taking forever for Luffy and Lucci's fight to happen. Getting so mad. Watching Nami and them fight for like 5 ever.
Oh god, yeah. Nami's fight definitely could have been shorter.
Nami's fight went on forever. I was like,
what was it? 2 episodes? Or like 1.5?
1.5, but it was still like a good. Just for that being one fight, I was like, it wasn't. I don't think that fight was worth it.
Yeah, you could have shortened that one, especially since it was in like a small room.
Yeah, small area. Like her ability wasn't like super like it wasn't too difficult to overcome. Yeah. But
yeah, once you know what it does, you just don't let her touch you. Don't let her bubbles touch you.
And if you do, roll in some water.
Yeah, roll in some water. Just clean it right off.
Exactly, and then she's fine. So I'd say that would be my overall rating for this arc, and it stands number 1 right now.
Favorite scene from this arc? I know there were a lot of really good scenes.
Robin's scene at the end when... Not the end, but Robin's scene when Luffy and them are on the rooftop and he's telling her that he needs to hear her.
Say it.
You know...
So when she says she wants to live.
Yeah. Just because, like, of everything else building up, getting her story, and that scene, I would say, is my favorite scene. You?
It's a good scene.
It's a really good scene.
Oh, man. Favorite scene. I'll try to pick something other than Mary's funeral.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that, but I was like...
So I think my favorite scene... if it's not Mary's funeral... Probably... And I know this is kind of a weird one. Probably when they show the Mary crying when Luffy and Usopp are fighting.
That's a good one.
Because it's like the ship is watching
them.
2 people that it cares about tear themselves apart. Like they're ripping apart the crew.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So it's that one's kind of hard to watch too, because you're like, man,
you're making the ship cry.
I know it was just water from a wave, but still, it looks like the ship is crying. So yeah, that I think would be one of my favorite scene, other than the funeral. So I had to pick something other than that.
Yeah.
That one would be my favorite scene.
Okay.
Okay. What would I? What do you think is going to come from this arc?
Well, the Straw Hats are now known.
Yeah.
Worldwide. They declared war. So now they're going to be considered a threat everywhere. Everyone's going to be looking for them. So that's going to affect them completely differently. They've been going from island to island. Not kind of like unknown, but not like where they now are now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're now introducing a lot more characters. Like Garf. They're showing a little bit more. They mentioned his dad, Blackbeard. I see something big coming with Blackbeard and his ability, and I want to see what happens with that. Like, that's something that is going to affect, I feel like, either this arc that we're watching now or the upcoming arc. Just because of that's a biggie. Like that's gonna affect a lot of different like people. That can shake up the 4 people that have the strongest pirate crews.
Yeah.
Like he can in theory defeat anyone. So I'm interested how that will play out. But every single one has a weakness.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see
what his is.
Because everyone has it's all of them can't be in water, of course, but like Luffy, if he gets shot, or gets stabbed.
Sharp objects.
Yeah, then he'll actually get hurt. So I'm wondering what his weakness and downfall will be, and how that will play out, overall in the series, and who will find it out, and I want to see what's gonna happen with Ace too.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like we know him, but we don't know enough about him. We know just a little bit. I'm kind of curious to see with him fighting Blackbeard, even if let's say he lost the fight that we cut off at, he's not going to just stand and take a loss, especially going back to Whitebeard. So I'm curious to see what he'll do and how that will play out.
Okay. Think anything's going to happen with CP9?
Well, of course the world government's going to be peed off. They're going to have to get more people for CP9. They're not just going to let that go down and just die. But the fact that Luffy defeated Lucci, huge. What was he, 13 when he joined CP9? 13? Or was it 15?
He was in his teens. I don't remember what the age exactly. But it was definitely the teens.
To have someone that strong protect the government for so long, and just have this pretty new crew come in and just clear them out.
Yeah.
And then declare war. That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And the government always has people on the back burners. They always do. Because they're shady like that.
Especially this government.
Yeah, this government is and then Spandam didn't die. So I know we're gonna see that jerk again.
Got his back broken though. Oh yeah, that was satisfying. Watching Robin break his back. Just her slow walk up the steps of the ship.
Yep. Just
to look at him and snap him in half.
That was great.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, perfect. That was the person for it to happen to. But that's what I think.
Cool. Do you believe Usopp got a lot of character development in this?
I think he developed more than he has other seasons. I mean, not seasons, the other arcs. But I think he could have developed a little bit more. But we got to see a little bit of a different side of Usopp, especially at the end.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end showed the most character development as a whole, because he's just so used to just doing whatever, and like you said, Luffy forgiving him and them joking around and everything, and just being oh well, you got being super sarcastic about things and not really taking situations too serious. And at the end, they were leaving him, they were gonna walk away and just leave him.
Yeah.
And he finally got it, which I feel Usopp arc 1, the first arc, I don't think he would have did it.
No.
I don't think he would have did it. I think he would have just walked away.
Well, if it was the first arc he was in, he didn't really know them.
Yeah.
It's he was going to start his own crew anyway.
Yeah.
I'll just call him out.
But I think he got super close to him from first arc to the second arc to now this one. I think he finally got it. These people, they really I have to follow the rules. I don't just get to do what I want to do when I want to do. There's actual consequences to everything, which I don't think he ever grasped before. So I think he did develop, but not as much as I would have liked him to. He stopped being a little bit of a coward.
A little bit towards the end.
A little bit. Not a lot. He's still there, but a little bit. But
actually took part in some fights. And
I know. It's shocking. But
especially saving Zoro. It's like he was just in the middle of it.
Like, he's getting there. He is. I just want to see him continue to get there. I don't want him just get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once he gets comfortable, that's when he starts doing like what he was doing. I want to see him actually like branch out and do stuff. Because he can fight.
Yeah.
He can fight. He just chooses
not to
fight. Which, I mean, like, I guess sometimes, like, pick and choose your battles. But if you're going to be rocking with Luffy and them...
You have to fight sometime.
You're going to have to fight. So...
Especially now, like you said, with the government after him. Like after them.
Everyone's going to have to do their part. Like, they're going to have to be more vigilant when they're going places. Their ship is going to be super recognizable.
Well, it's got a big lion in the front of it.
It's got the lion. It's got their, like, emblem on it. So it's like they have to be smart, and everyone has to be willing to put their life on the line for the crew.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that from Usopp, though. He did that, like, this season, but I want him to consistently, like...
Do that.
And do that.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Let me see.
Oh, my back cracked.
Trying to think if there's any other questions I have for you. I think that's okay, just to throw it out. Favorite CP9 member?
Oh, okay. Like, what are we grading it on? Just, like, being cool, funny, or just, like, overall, like, or being just, like, dope?
Overall, which one did you like the best? Could have been the funniest one. Could have been the, as you put, dopest one. Or...
I would say it's a tie between, like, Choppa and, Lucci. Choppa just was so funny to me. I spilled the beans. Like, he would just blab. Like, he was just such a gossip. I don't know why they told him anything.
If anything, they should give him false information.
Like, give him... Because he would go out there and spill the beans.
Yeah.
I spilled the beans. And then, like, I really liked Lucci because he was a really good villain.
Yeah.
Like, he was just so cold. So stern. Like, I was like, oh my god. I hate you.
Oh, man. Yeah, Lucci's really cool.
He was really cool. So I would say it's a solid tie between
those two. Okay. I need to get a Lucci figure.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't.
They have one available, I think, on Toys Logic. But I got so many pre-orders that I don't have the money to pay for it.
No.
I'll eventually get it.
When I get a case, I'm going to collect the CP9 people.
CP9 people. Cool. I don't think they have all of them. They have Lucci, Kaku, Khalifa.
Oh, they don't have Choppa?
No.
Oh, we don't get to spill the beans.
Maybe in a Bandai, figure.
Oh, okay.
One of the little smaller ones, but...
Not like
that. Yeah, not like that.
Oh, if you guys see me looking over here...
That's where all my One Piece figures are at.
They're all right here, and then we got, like, the wanted posters up here. This is what I look at. This is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
One Piece.
It's all the One Piece figures right there. Except for Sanji. I have one Sanji in the back. Right there.
With the ladies.
Yeah, he's got... Oh, Nami's in there too.
He's got to have Nami with him.
Yeah, he's got to have Nami.
He's got it.
He's got Nami, he's got Rem, he's got Galco, and some other girl from this other anime called something Conquest Vesda Plot or something like that. I don't remember her name. I only saw it once. But yeah, that's what Belle's always looking at when she looks over to the
Yeah, when I look over
right.
here, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not just staring at the wall.
Yeah,
like a weirdo.
There's actually stuff over there. And I have more One Piece figures coming too. I'm gonna need another case.
Where are you gonna put it?
Probably have to move that. Might have to move that stuff out of the way and push these over, and then move that probably to the other side of the bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably have to do that, and then having more space there, or we'll just go in the other room. I don't know. But I feel like all the One Piece figures should be over in this section with the other One Piece figures.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anyway, I think that about covers everything, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it does. We're at 4 hours. It's about what we thought.
Okay. It's better than 6.
Yeah. I remember you said in the beginning, we'll try to keep it at 4. And there we are. But some of it was randomly talking about the figures.
Yeah.
For those of you who actually saw the figures and know who they are, you know who Belle knows is coming up soon. So, yeah. So don't be upset if she says,
"Oh, that's who that person."
That's who that is. But yeah, that's our recap, review, discussion. I would go with Belle. This is a 9 as far as the arc goes. Again, some of the fights did drag on a bit. But Luffy and Lucci made up for it by being totally awesome.
Right? That fight was amazing.
Tons of sad moments, tons of like epic moments. This arc had everything. So
good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah. Spandam would be the ugly. Especially after the slap attack.
Forget you, Spandam.
But that's it. Next week there will not be a reaction because Belle is going to be out of town. So we will pick back up on the 6th.
Yep.
However, it will be a filler arc. 11 episodes long. I don't think we're going to watch all 11 episodes that day. 4 to 6, I would say.
Yeah.
4 to 6 episodes. So 3 to 2 weeks is when we'll finish it. If we do 6 episodes the week after. But yeah, if you don't want to watch the filler arc, you know which weeks to skip. And if you don't mind the filler arc, then
join us.
You'll see us watching it and reacting. And then after that, we'll get into the main arc, which is actually a lot shorter than this one.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot shorter. I think it's maybe 30, 40 episodes.
Oh, that's whack.
Yeah. But still a lot of cool moments.
Okay.
So, if you enjoyed this... Did that shift?
Yep.
It did look like it shifted. If you enjoyed this review, discussion, recap, because I did recap the entire thing,
Yeah.
hit the like and subscribe button so you can get updates on our releases. Check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for anything else we decide to post. I've actually posted a lot of stuff on the Twitter recently. And check out our Discord where you can chat with me, Belle, or anyone else. It's also a good place to go to see if there are any updates to the channel. So until the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.